Like, bro, didn't drop out of his race. Did y'all think that he would? We still arguing, get back on Twitter. I'm always on Twitter. I'm always arguing, even if you don't see me doing it. So is YouTube not white people? No. It was white people. I just had a flash. Any coffee? I don't drink coffee. Anyway, what is up, chat? What is up? What is going on? Things are happening. There is discourse, and you know how much I enjoy discourse. Time for Woke 3.0. Listen, they won't like Woke 3.0. I've already described what Woke 3.0 is, and they won't like it. Right? See Chuck Edwards drop out of his congressional race in North Carolina? I did not. Why? Did he get exposed for cheating on his wife? Woke 3.0 is Maoism. Woke 3.0 is... I know, I'll let you imagine. But when Woke 3.0 comes, we will Woke 3.0 anybody who used the term Woke 1.0. Or said dark woke. That's all I'll say. Is that when Woke 3.0 comes around, if you've ever used the term Woke 1.0, you're being Woke 3.0 at that point. They stop as it was about Woke 1.0 or even joke about Woke 1. We won't need to talk about it, but here we are. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, what is to be gained by like looking back on like the 2020 era of politics, right? And the main issue of concern being like annoying people on Twitter. I still both pro both these terms. I still think y'all want to ignore the excesses. There are no excesses. Explain. What excesses of Woke 1.0? Well, you had one freaking a trans girl on Twitter said, "Oh, white people are all bad" or whatever. There are no excesses. It didn't happen. It didn't exist outside of your bubble of the internet. Nothing materially changed. The most you can say about the 2020 era of politics is that it was ineffective, and it was ineffective because leftists gave up on it. That's it. Goes up because she drew Steven Universe character too skinny. You're just describing the internet. I can pull out a number of different times where freaking people have bullied people to insanity on the internet. That's not what 1.0. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. They're pointing to isolated instances of things that happened. First, I don't even know what that absolutely was the case. No, it wasn't. It was not. You're just doing Steven Crowder behavior. That's not a movement. That's not a movement. You're describing people online being people online. You can point that at happening, right? We literally talked about it 2 days ago, right? How I said that it's literally worse to be cringe online than to be a creep. And it's happening currently right now. And that has always been the case. That has consistently been the case. It happened before woke, before it was anti-SJW and before it was SJW, right? During the skeptic era of the internet in 2013, in 2012, in 2011, it was the same thing. You think they weren't bullying people to the point of offing themselves then too? This is not a hallmark or a feature of woke. People online run the country? No, they don't. You're a moron. You're stupid. No, they don't. They do not run the country. Objectively speaking, if people online run the country, we would have some actual change happening. Because if you look online, people are apparently so woke, and did nothing change. You just crack, you think they had no influence. Did I say that, chatter? No, because you're a fucking idiot. Because you don't listen. This is the epitome of a straw man. I did not say it had no influence. I said they don't run the country because they don't run the country. And you're stupid. I mean, good online people. Grapers are some of the most online people. Yeah, and Grapers don't run the country. Even now, in the most Graper-coded like administration, JD Vance is not a Graper. Grapers are JD Vance. Do you not understand? Like, Grapers exist as a reflection of what happens in real life. It's not the other way around. It's just not. They're a reflection of what happens in real life. Right? And it's separate from the fact that this is completely removed from the entire woke conversation. Right? Now the goalpost has shifted to now, woke had a impact in real life to like online woke was like impactful to like now, oh, Grapers have influence. That starts from real life. Woke is as a term. Woke as a term originated from within the Black community, meaning socially aware, right? Socially and politically aware, right? Woke means like you're awake, your eyes have been opened. That's what it is come from. And so taking that framing of the term and applying the framing that conservatives use to mean like SJWs, right, does a disservice to one, the Black people the term came from, right? And the wider online left, and wider left movement in general. Why are you like ceding ground to the right wingers? It's completely irrelevant. Words evolve. We need to move where culture moves. No, you fucking moron. No, we do not. We should not follow culture. We don't do tailism. That's stupid. If we followed culture in this country, we would be Nazis. Are you a Nazi, chatter? I don't think so. We should not let the Nazis dictate the culture. We should stop the culture from moving. And you're like, no, we should just give ground to the Nazis, bro. Oh, we should just give up. We should just give ground to the Nazis. The Nazis are moving in. No! Don't give in to Nazi framing. That's stupid and dumb. It's objectively stupid and dumb. Don't give in to Nazi framing. You're literally handing it to Ben Shapiro. You are aligning with the Grapers right now by doing that. So stop doing that. It literally makes no sense. Saying woke is annoying people who, for the most part, did nothing is not Nazi framing. Yes, it is! Objectively, yes, it is! That is what the Nazis said during 2020. That's what Ben Shapiro said. They made entire videos about this. Objectively. Again, another goalpost move, another goalpost shift, right? Another goalpost shift. You can say that woke was ineffective, but woke was a reaction. Even like woke 1.0, the liberal co-opted version of woke, it itself was a reaction to the system of oppression in this country. And I'm sorry, if you have a problem with that, you are an enemy. You are the enemy. It was ineffective, right? And it did not materially move the needle, partially because people gave up on it and ceded ground on it, right? But if you were genuinely sitting here acting like that is an issue and a problem, living under a fascist regime, if you look back at what happened in 2020 and be like, man, that was really an issue, you're an op. I'm sorry. You are an op. That is op behavior. The fascist regime has many supporters because of generative, because of the excess of it. No, it wasn't, chatter. They were not generated because of the excesses of the movement. They were already Nazis. We live in a white supremacist fascist country. They are white supremacists. We live in that country already. It's been that country since the inception. If you think that people became Nazis because of wokeness in 2020, you are stupid. And honestly, you might be a Nazi yourself. Many did. No, they didn't. Donald Trump won in 2016. Before 2020. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He still won 2024. That doesn't matter for the argument. You were saying that they were not there, and I was saying it was already there. Absolutely does. No, it does. Honestly, I would go as far to say that it actually is less effective. It is less effective. There are less like right-wing sentiment than there was in 2014. Because that was the entire internet then. The movement feeds our incompetency. Woke one, incompetency feeds them well. You are genuinely a moron. I'm sorry, I'm banning you because you're fucking stupid. You are literally, you're literally fucking stupid. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're objectively dumb. Right? Woke 3.0, you're the first to go. You are pulling down the collective intelligence of the chat. You're literally a waste of oxygen. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. You're stupid. You're dumb. You are objectively stupid. Objectively stupid. Objectively dumb. We live in a fascist country. Inherently. They don't need an excuse to get more fascist. They're going to get more fascist, right? What makes people more fascist is seeing the supposed anti-fascist or counterinsurgency party cozying up and aligning with the fascists. That's what pushes people further and further polarized to the right. Is when the Democratic Party is like, oh, we need to actually collaborate more with ICE. You know, we need to fund the police more, which I'm sorry, that's not woke one. That's not what was being talked about with woke one. That's the exact opposite of what was happening with woke one. And when the chatter is DSA, like their profile says, no, probably are, because DSA is stupid too. There are stupid people in the DSA, bro. If I had to talk, if I had to count the amount of like idiots that I've seen with freaking stupid rose emojis in their profiles of Twitter, bro, I'd be too many to count. Too many to count. The problem with woke, and and if you're just getting in here, you don't know the context, we'll get into it in a second. The problem with woke is that you fuckers gave it up. All right? That's the problem with woke. That's the issue with woke one, as it's being described. The issue with woke one is that y'all gave up. You gave up the fight. You gave up police abolition. You gave up prison abolition. You gave up defunding the police. You gave up Black Lives Matter. You gave up the fight against police brutality. That's the problem, right? And because you gave it up, the liberals were able to co-opt it and turn it into marketing for their capitalist propaganda. That's what the issue was. And then because it didn't affect you, you moved on because it wasn't your problem. Because you're not Black. You don't live in these communities. Right? So now you get to reminisce about how insane woke one was when I remember seeing videos of my people being shot to death in the street for doing nothing. That's what I remember about woke one. Not the two annoying people on Twitter, because that's all it was for you. That the only stakes you had in woke one and in 2020 was people being annoying on Twitter to you. The stakes for the Black community was life and death, and it doesn't matter to you. For you, it matters how much you could have gained from that movement. So when police abolition and prison abolition could have led to better healthcare for you, you cared about it then. But now that it's you're cozying up to the Democratic Party and you're winning elections, now you're fine with abandoning that movement because you don't need it anymore. That's when you're so ready to move on to woke 2.0. Who gives you the right? Who gives you the right to define what 2.0 woke is? It's not your term. It's not your word. What is the caucasity? Where do you get it from? The thing you get to define the next iteration of that dynamic. And please, I would love to see you go to Black people. Please go to the Black community and tell them you've made a new version of woke. I want to see it. I want to see you get laughed out of the room and see how well that movement your building works and functions. Please do it. Please do it. People redefine concepts all the time. We can't stop that, unfortunately. Yes, we can. We objectively can. We can't stop it if we give up and let the right take the turn. But we can 100% push back on the redefinition of the concept of woke. 100%. Why is everyone weak? Because they're cowards. All of these people are cowards. They're cowardly. They are fine with selling out Black people when it serves their purpose. How are you not the majority to use that concept? Is the DSA the majority right now? Why even do anything? Why even win elections? Why even fight to win elections if the most of the country isn't a socialist right now? Why even push people to be more socialist if most of the country isn't a socialist right now? Why do you do anything? Why do we fight for anything? Why do we literally fight for a single thing in this world if we are not immediately in the majority? Or does it take effort and active work to try to push for something to actually change? Oh, we're not the majority. We give up. Oh, I'm sorry. We can't do anything. We have to give up now. Oh man, we're in the minority. Oh no. Oh no, people said that defund the police is too hard. Might as well give it up. Might as well give it up. Might as well not talk about it. Might as well not cover it. What? Oh, people said that. But you realize that never happens for healthcare? Never once have they said it for healthcare. When it comes for Medicare for all or universal healthcare, not once have white leftists said it's too hard, we need to move on. Not a single time. Only when it comes to things that helps marginalized people, right? Trans people. Right? Trans women in sports. It's like, oh, well, it's kind of hard to message around that. So we have to kind of, we have to kind of placate and play our battles about, when we should support this. And maybe we should actually put this on the back burner. Never when it comes to universal health care. Things that would benefit white people, right? Because they're not benefited by, they are benefited by defund the police, right? But it's not an issue that directly affects them. They are not the center of the conversation, so they do not care about it. That's what this conversation is about. That is what this conversation is about. It's white people not being the center of the discussion for 2 years. 2 years. If I was like, I think of an example of a concept that hasn't been redefined white people, it hasn't returned to original meaning since, I don't care. They're just like, oh, they'll give up. Oh, so sorry. It hasn't happened for you, so you just give it up. I don't care. I don't dictate my positions based on how easy or difficult the day would be. All right. Maybe that's the difference between me and a lot of leftists online. Right. Maybe that's the difference between me and a lot of white leftists. Right. I don't look at something being difficult and think, oh, sorry, we can't do it. Right. I actually stand on things and have principles. I have principles. I don't think about how hard it would be to stop people from saying slurs. Oh, it'd be so difficult. It's so difficult to get people to stop people from saying slurs, so we can't do it. No, I stand on that principle, and so that's the position that I believe. You think they'll do this for abolish ICE in the future? Yes. 100%. I guarantee it. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. And this is just an example of that. And we'll get to it. Jason, thank you for the raid. Howard, thank you for the 6 months. So if you're just getting in, and you don't know how this conversation started, first of all, if you've been watching me, you know that we've been having this conversation for ever, right? We've had the same conversation for the last year and a half or so.
This is going to happen with ICE. It's going to happen with Palestine. It's going to happen to anything dealing with the marginalized.
Hold on. Actually, you know what? I saw that right now, but just blacking this person. Here. So, yesterday, can't see, involve us? No. Yesterday, AOC went on ABC and answered some questions about, what was it about? Was it Francesca? I don't know. Somehow we got to a woke conversation. I don't freaking know. I think part of the problem is being too broad with what we consider left. These are the white liberals MLK warned us about. Social democracy is the left wing of fascism. You're saying Francesca? Here.
To win the Senate.
And we'll cover Hassan's reaction to it. I know somebody sent it into Discord. I'm pretty sure. No, that was a different video. I saw it on Twitter or something. I don't remember.
So I've been focused on those legislative
What do you make of those controversial statements? I'm sure you've seen. I mean, she's, you know, the Thanksgiving.
So guys can cheat. I'm sorry. That cheat shit is loser shit. I'm sorry. Genuinely. Cheat doing the woke one shit is also loser shit. You can't see it? Oh. You're looking at my face. It's loser shit. It's loser shit.
Dust up. She says she doesn't, you know, still believe that, but, you know, the abolished prisons, abolished police, which is also positions.
Like, because, okay, here.
It's possible to win the Senate. So I've been.
Oh, what if you agree with everything under the police, defund the police banner, but think it's a bad term and doesn't have good optics? You want to change the tagline? Fuck it. Fuck you. This is literally the exact. This is so interesting because like people are doing the whole like it's no more optics shit because like you know woke when it was optics, all optics, but also defund the police was bad optics. You know which is it? You feel me? Which is it? Which one are we doing? Which one are we doing? You know? Are we doing no more optics and like woke 2.0 is not doing optics anymore, or are you caring so much about the optics of how defund the police looks? Right? Socialism was also a scary word to people until you explain to them what socialism is. Should we just drop socialism? Socialism just shouldn't exist as a concept? Right? If you want to say reallocate police funding instead of defund the police, then say reallocate police funding instead of defund the police. But crying about defund the police is feeding into the culture war, which makes you an op, in my personal opinion. No, we did not move from communism to socialism specifically for that purpose. No. People did not start calling themselves a socialist to distance themselves from the term communist. They're just not communists. Some people might have, but like these people just aren't, they're not communists. Here, let's continue.
It's possible to win the Senate. So I've been focused on those legislative
What do
races.
you make of those controversial statements? I'm sure you've seen. I mean, she's, you know, the Thanksgiving dust up. She says she doesn't, you know, still believe that, but, you know, the abolished prisons, abolished police, which is also positions that have been taken by a lot of the progressive candidates who have won. How do you get around that? I mean, those are not positions that are supported by
Right.
most of
I mean, I think that a lot of these races, even right now, they'll have a tendency to be nationalized.
Yeah.
But these races ultimately are local, and all politics are local. My understanding is that that Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot
Right,
of that.
she's moved away from it. And I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy. Okay, that's interesting.
And I think that what's important is that we have to assess what
Was it? I mean, did the movement go too far with some of those positions? I mean, you briefly supported
See,
the idea.
this is what happens. This is what happens. This is what happens when you do that. This is okay. This clip is the perfect example for why you don't do that, right? This is exactly what happens. Why are people defending this when in the clip, mainstream media was like, "Oh, so you don't believe that stuff anymore?" Which part of that do you not believe? Explain to us. You know, when you were saying defund the police then, and you're not saying it now. You think that went too far. Like you're ceding ground, right? You're on the back foot. You're playing defense now. You're playing defense now when like you didn't need to.
Defunding the police.
Well, you know, I think that during this time and especially during COVID, there was a huge opening of the Overton window. We were shut down. There was some of the highest unemployment rates that we have seen because of those shutdowns.
Yeah.
And I think that the doors were really open in trying to entertain any and every policy that was going to get us to a better place. And I actually think that the discussions that were had in that time were quite fruitful. I think that when we talk about crime today, it's fundamentally different than the way that we talked about crime in bringing crime down, right? And I think that we all...
How so? I need her to explain that. Like, I mean, yeah, in that like leftists just moved on and stopped caring about it, right? There was a period of like 3 years from like 2021, 2022 to 2024, right? Where like they just stopped caring about extrajudicial killings until I started doing them. Right? They just moved on. It's like, yeah, we you know, how we talked about it was different because we talked about it then and we stopped talking about it now.
all share in the goals of having as low a crime rate as possible. I think that, you know, during lockdown, of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today. And I'm grateful that these candidates have the opportunity to present who they are to their electorate and what they're campaigning on in this moment.
I mean, this is like very clear. She's very clearly saying we've abandoned the positions that we held there. Like, there's no other way to describe that, in my personal opinion. There's no other way to describe that, in my opinion, outside of her. Like, it's just her saying we've abandoned the position that we held then. That's it. And that's craziness. She's saying because of COVID we were hyper online. That's why language is birth. Kind of insane, is it? Isn't it? I think that's part of the conversation. It's basically just like it's a different time. Is Abolish ICE going to be too woke soon? Yes. Yes. Right. You don't see it now, but like once this new crop of politicians get into office, realize that they can't unilaterally abolish ICE and it won't happen immediately, and then their re-election campaigns come up, yes, it will be dropped immediately. I guarantee it. Because this is literally what happens when you like are so tied to like electoral politics as your avenue of change, right? As your theory of change. That's just what's gonna happen.
possible.
Right? And so this is the kind of the clip that's kind of sparked the controversy and the discussion where people are defending the like woke one is crazy thing, which is just like, again, I just wanted to question this, right? I want you to think about this, chat. Why should we care what AOC has to say about like how far woke one was taken, especially if nothing changed? You know, like if you are a leftist politician and you look at like what happened during 2020 and you look at what happened is happening now, is that really your chief concern? Right? If woke 2 was about bringing it back to class, then like why is she like, you know, decrying how woke 1 has failed and it was too much excess? If the excess of woke 1 was corporate co-opting, then they should recognize it as hegemonic culture, that we are corporations. Why is it our fault? But like, AOC was a part of that. She's like handshaking Joe Biden. That's what I don't understand. Like she was like directly involved with like the co-opting of like these things. Everybody said last week that she ain't winning. Yeah. Do you see why I said that now? Because if you don't shake hands, what happens? It doesn't get co-opted. Right? Do you think that they should shake hands with Trump now, Chatter? Do you think that like Zoran should just be like, oh yes, Trump, we need to work together with you and me and you? And nothing happens? You will have a very cynical and I think stupid perspective. Change does not happen by shaking hands with politicians. Change happens by organizing, right? And what this is doing is throwing organizing under the bus. That's it. Are you gonna defend AOC shaking hands with Joe Biden when he was like being directly involved with the genocide? Because no other change can happen otherwise? Or do we organize outside of the system and put pressure on the politicians in that way? Right? Without ceding ground to that framing. It's so silly. Isn't the goal of abolish ICE to abolish ICE and the goal of defund the police to get rid of the entire American system, but to replace it with something else? I'm educated on the prison abolition position. I mean, you literally just described, you said defund the police. It's in the name, right? Defund the police is not any harder to understand than abolish ICE. Abolish ICE is to abolish ICE. Defund the police is to defund the police. Abolish the police is to abolish the police. These are very simple terms that don't. When you hear abolish ICE, do you think, well, we need to do 2 loop-de-loops and do a hopscotch or something? No, it's in the term. It's in the term. And so it's insanely silly to even just engage with this framing that like woke 1 was crazy. Do we need to switch to demolish ICE? In the marketplace of ideas. Here, I had a few things I wanted to show as well. Like the terms are so descriptive, like even woke is exactly what it sounds like, but there's been no mainstream pushback against the right-wing framing of these terms. Yeah, they've just literally just given it up. They've literally just given it up. They saw the right I mean, it's exactly what happened with SJW, right? They saw the right take SJW, and they were like, okay, you can have it. They saw the right take woke and apply woke broadly, and then saw liberals co-opt that, and they were like, okay, you guys can have it, right? Even though like woke was a term that came and it originated from within the black community. What went from socially aware to black people? Yeah. She will be live tweeted. But here. And yeah, she's saying like woke one was crazy, Madam President. Wouldn't be the first time mainstream media gave up on something that originated within black spaces. Yes. Funny because they let the right have SJW, a generation of queer kids grew up to hate their queerness. It's just like, it's just insane. Even from a tactical standpoint, right? Like, it is insane to do this when you are like trying to like appeal to like black voters, right? Because like, I'm sorry, you just to black people, you look like Republicans. And we just talked about it, right? And people love to ask me, right, Sean, how do you engage with the black community? Right? How do you bring the black community into the wider movement? Right? Polling shows that they like socialism and they're the most progressive community, but like they're not represented in DSA. How do you fix that? And then they're like, the next day, like, you know, one day later, it's like, yo, woke one was crazy. Woke one was crazy. We're done with that old woke stuff. We're doing new woke, a term that I just made up. Woke 2, dark woke. Right? Because black people see that and be like, okay, you are literally no different than Republicans. You are actually no different than Republicans. You are literally the same. You know what I mean? Like the woke one slander. And again, we could have a real conversation about how like the movement was co-opted by liberals. That's not what you're doing. And what's crazy is like people who are like coming at me being like, we don't need sloganeering, like defund the police, but they're like fine with like sloganeering as it pertains to like woke one and dark woke. You know what I mean? Like they're fine with sloganeering in that regard. Woke went too far is ridiculous. This is what I said on my here. I'll look at this Ryan Brent tweet in a second. This is what I said on my Twitter. I said a few things. I said the fact that non-black people so confidently speak about what woke means shows that whatever you call woke one didn't go far enough. And I stand on this, right? Because the real reality of people talking about woke one is that it made them uncomfortable, right? At worst, it was ineffective. What Caroline said too, woke one didn't go far enough. Someone said that Caroline said it as well. If someone has a link to like Caroline talking about something like this yesterday, let's take a look at it. Right? But literally, at worst, it was ineffective. At worst, it was ineffective. It was ineffective. That was it. It was not like harmful unless you're doing the Ryan Grimm strat of like, it made white people feel bad. And I think a lot of white people don't want to reckon with that reality. Genuinely. A lot of white people do not want to reckon with that reality. It made them uncomfortable talking about black issues, speaking about black issues. Right? Bernie Sanders, I said black 50 times already. Right? And this is them lashing out because they were not the center of the discussion. That's how you get dark woke. That's how you get like woke 1.0 discussions. Right? You get Ryan Grimm talking about we need to repeal affirmative action. Right? Because they're never talking about what should replace it. I need to remind you, they are never speaking about what should replace it. Right? They're saying affirmative action needs to go, DEI needs to go, and they need to replace it with colorblind universalist policies. Because that's what universalist policies are. They're colorblind policies. What they're saying is we need to do away with addressing racism and racialized violence and address things through a colorblind policy. That's what people mean when they say, no, woke 2 is just about focusing on class. Like, as opposed to what? What did you think woke 1 was focusing on? You know what I mean? Please tell me in great detail. Tell me in great detail. Okay, respectfully, I'm just trying to understand. By the way, I agree woke 1 didn't go far enough. My question, though, was more like defund the police is an abolition. We get rid of American system. And we start some kind of law enforcement, correct? I feel like with ICE, it's a lot different because we want to get rid of the whole thing. That's why I don't think abolish ICE has bad optics. Well, I think defund the police sort of does. I think you're fucking stupid. Like, all disrespect to you. I think genuinely, I think you're just dumb. And you just don't understand, like, the abolitionist perspective, right? Genuinely, right? Because again, you're conflating defund with abolish. Defund is very simple, and I'll explain it very simply. You take money from here and you put it over here. That's literally all it is. You take money from here, you put it over there. It's a reallocation of police funding, right? Abolish the police has bad optics too if you don't message it correctly, right? Because abolish the police didn't have widespread support before 2024. Sorry, abolish ICE. Abolish ICE didn't have widespread support before 2024, right? But our job is to message these policies, right, that are moral to people who will reflexively stand against it, right? Because if you said abolish the police in 2022, abolish the police. If you said abolish ICE in 2022, they said, oh, so you want illegals to come in here? You want only illegals? You want open borders and free reign illegals running through the country, right? And it was our job to message the policy of abolish ICE to saying we were lived in a world without ICE, right? Prior to or the Department of Homeland Security entirely, prior to 2001, right? And we don't need ICE as an immigration enforcement mechanism. Right? So it's our job to message those policies to people in a way that it will be open to be accepted to people. When it comes to defund the police, I mean, Chris Rabb literally did it 2 days ago. We watched it happen. Oliver Larkin did as well. He literally did this on Scott Hannity.
All right, so this radical socialist takeover of the Democratic Party continues. Now you have progressive firebrand Chris Rabb wins the Democratic primary for what is...
We need to radically dismantle the immigrant concentration camps.
Do you want to defund the Department of War?
We need to radically reduce how much money we're spending with the Pentagon. Absolutely. Our war budget is radically larger than every other country combined.
Do you want to end all deportations?
Do I want to end all deportations?
Okay. You want, obviously, I went through your
system. There was a bipartisan bill in the
eliminate...
Senate that was moving towards that.
So you're president. You do live in the United States, whether you like it or not. Would you like to eliminate cash bail and establish a wealth tax?
Absolutely.
Okay. You want, obviously, I went through your list. You want the Green New Deal. Would you like to abolish prisons and abolish the police?
Well, you know, what's interesting about that statement is long before there was any notion of policing, we had founders that did not even understand that term. Policing is something that's evolved over time. Ultimately, what we want is to have communities that are safe. And 99% of what police do are not going after the bad guys. All of that.
That's it. That's the answer. That's literally the answer, right? And AOC not doing this, but instead doing, man, woke one was crazy. We had some weird beliefs back then, right? Is an L. It is an L.
That can be done in different ways.
So you support,
by professionals who are trained to do
police,
so.
Okay, I'm talking about police that arrest bad people, that commit crimes and commit robberies and rape, the child molesters, the drug dealers, those people, the people that have guns
Were there
that
people who
protect
did
the
that
innocent.
before the term police existed, though? I mean, let's
Well,
talk about this in the appropriate context.
You want to go by the definition. Everyone watching this show knows what policing is. You know what policing is. So let's not play word games. Do you want to defund the police or not?
I'm a state lawmaker who's represented 70,000 people for 10 years. No,
Do you
I've
want them
never
safe
said
and
that.
secure?
What my point is,
you do recognize there are murderers, rapists, child molesters, drug dealers, bad people in this world. Do you want to have people that are hired to arrest them?
we need to keep our communities safe, and there are ways
didn't
of doing
ask
that.
you, do
long
you
before
want
the
the
term
police
ever existed.
Then how, if you
Do you
don't
believe in
have police,
sheriffs?
how would you protect the
Do you
people
believe
in your
in state
district?
troopers?
State troopers, can they be armed in your view?
Hey, listen, I believe in arming oneself. Listen, my people are from the South.
So do I.
All right. So the
Really
only
great,
way
to be honest. I think you're wrong. This is principle. This is being principled. Right? That's it. This is being principled. He won his election. There's no need to play nice and like tailor and placate your language. Because if you do that, why should I even support you in the first place? Right? If you are willing to drop principles because it's difficult to argue, you're not an ally. You know what I mean?
Dibbles just subscribed. Huh.
This gets bogged down though. Then suddenly he's pro-gun. I mean, yeah, obviously, because that's what they're going to do. This is why you kind of don't go on Fox News, you know. But that's what you expect to going on Fox News. Like that's what they're going to do, right? Because they want you to give up your principles, right? They want you to do what AOC did here, right? AOC had a more like, you know, polished answer, but she's a coward. That's a cowardly answer, right? It's, hey, you guys believed this thing before, you don't believe it now. And she's like, yeah, you know, things change. She's a coward. This is cowardly, Chad. I don't know what to tell you. There's no other way to describe this other than cowardly. It is. You're throwing people under the bus by saying that, yeah. So what one was about BLM minority rights, and now everyone is pretending to care, is saying it's too much too. Yeah, but they're pretending like it wasn't about that. You know what I mean? Yes, not only is it cowardly, but it's also not effective. I really thought if I really thought this would help, I could at least acknowledge that, but I don't think it will. It just makes her seem less distinct than, from the rest of the establishment. I mean, we literally just laughed, right? We literally just laughed at, yeah, someone said it in chat, like Will Lawrence for distancing himself from the DSA when he thought it was electorally effective. This is the same thing, right? You just like AOC. So you don't see it as such. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Someone was saying woke one is crazy. It was an ironic inside joke between her and G who made fun of people who say that. But in this context, no, they're not. They're also not making fun of people who say that. They believe it, right? They think that like woke one went too far because they are too online, right? Because I want you to just take yourself out of the online perspective for 1 second and put yourself in the perspective of a Black person, right? Who saw everything leading up from 2014, right? 2012 with Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice, right? Through like Philando Castile, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, right? Mike Brown. You saw all of that, and you saw it come to a head in 2020. You know what I mean? And then only for, 4 years, 6 years later, to see progressives only discuss it in terms of like the co-option that happened from liberal establishment. you know? It maybe it's different if these same progressives actually talked about defund the police at any particular, like at any junction, right? Maybe it would be slightly different if they ever even engaged with what even happened there and police reform in any meaningful way since then, but they haven't, and they didn't. What if they weren't being extremely online, but just saw that it wasn't materially effective? But since they were super online, we think that's why. No, that's not what it is, because that's wrong, objectively speaking, right? The movement of BLM was the biggest civil rights movement in this country since the civil rights movement, right? And numerically, it eclipsed the civil rights movement itself, right? And so if you can't even engage with that fact and take that energy and direct it somewhere, the only lesson you take from that is woke one was crazy, right? That's like saying the civil rights movement was crazy, bro. People just hated white people then. Do you see how insane that would sound, right? How absolutely crazy that would sound if somebody in 2026 was like, bro, the civil rights movement was crazy. They just hated white people back then, right? Or do you take the entire context of the civil rights movement, right? Because in the same vein, what happened after the civil rights movement was a failure because it did not directly lead to any substantive change. Like Martin Luther King died without anything substantively happening in relates to like civil rights being enforced, right? Or forwarded, right? Malcolm X died, was assassinated. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Fred Hampton were all assassinated before anything actually like materially changed, right? But it would be insane, right? It would be absolutely insane to reduce down the entire movement to just, man, it was crazy. Some people hated white people there. You know what I mean? And that's what's happening now with BLM. If the only way you discuss that time and that movement is talk about like the 3 people online who annoyed you, right? That's op behavior. You're an op. You're an op, right? The real way you engage with this, right, is to say that there was a lot of energy, right? Where she's talking about BLM. She might not have thought she was talking about BLM, but what do you think woke one was? The time MLK's death, he still had disapproval of over 60% with white people. They will always be an anchor to progress, having dragged forward by POCs. That might be just your personal interpretation. No, that is BLM, chatter. That's what happened there. Again, the largest civil rights movement in this country's history. Did you specifically say woke 1.0? Yes. That's why we're talking about it. Right? She's discussing things like abolish the police and defund the police, which were directly related to BLM. You know, Black Lives Matter because black people were being killed by the police. Or that one was more of the 2016-ish SJW's point of personal private types. Yeah. That's right-wing framing. You're conceding to right-wing framing. Woke was always about being socially conscious and politically conscious. Always. It literally did not mean anything else until right-wingers and Nazis were like, oh, go woke, go broke. You're doing go woke, go broke. That's what you're feeding into. You're doing the culture war. You are literally doing go woke, go broke. Objectively. Right? And I expect better from the supposed leaders of the leftist movement. I expect you to be able to draw a distinction, right, between some annoying people online, right? And like the actual movement itself. Why are you even talking about the annoying people online? Right? The reason why is they're too much of cowards to defend the positions. They're too much of cowards to defend that, Thanksgiving might actually be bad. They're too much of cowards to defend the concept of defund the police. They're too much of cowards to defend the concept of abolishing the police. They're too much of cowards to defend the concept of abolishing private prisons, right? They're too cowardly to defend that stuff. And so they're just like, man, people said crazy things back then, right? It's cowardly. This is cowardly, right? Because again, nothing that she's responding to is like insane, like overreaching, annoying SJW behavior. I'm not even saying that it doesn't exist, but nothing she's responding to, right, in this clip is about that. It's about Francesca Hong's Thanksgiving post and the positions of abolishing the police and defunding the police. Right? That's what she's responding to here. Right? And the reason why they're distancing themselves is because, one, I don't think they really care, but two, because I don't think I don't think they want to defend it, right? They're too much of cowards to be able to defend a like police abolition or a defunding the police point. Why did you say woke one instead of identity politics? We talked about how identity politics was co-opted by liberals. Why has woke one even become a term? Why don't we already have a word for what she's critiquing? Because they're giving into right-wing framing, right? It's kind of similar to how like leftists like started using like gesture maxing or looks maxing and stuff like that unironically, right? Leftists are tailless as it pertains to like language. That's why like leftists have started adopting the R slur, right? As like a counterculture because it's been normalized by right-wingers. Right? It's kind of why I reject the concept of like the be normal concept, right? Normality is bigoted, right? And when you adhere to normality, when you adhere to the status quo, you're going to end up reinforcing those same bigotries that this society is built on, right? Which is why I expect you to be better. As a leftist, I expect you to explain to people why defund the police is necessary and how a practical way you can go about it is, right? That's your job as a leftist politician. Why are we electing these losers in the first place if they're not going to do that? You know what I mean? What is their role? What is their job? What is their job? Genuinely. Why do we elect them? Why do we support them? Like Chris Rapp doing like difficult work to explain the concept of policing to people is his job. That's why he's a leftist that was elected. Right? If not, you're no different than like a John Fetterman. Right? You're no different than a John Fetterman if that's the case. Your job is to explain these principles to people and why it's necessary and how you practically can go about doing it. The fact that she doesn't attempt to push forward any kind of argument for abolition frames as extremist is an insane idea. Because she's not an abolitionist. You know what I mean? This is kind of what I see as like one of Hassan's biggest L's as well. Not that he's not an abolitionist, but that I think Hassan has like no real motivation to learn about abolition, right? So whenever Hassan talks about like policing, he always makes sure to like be like, by the way, I don't believe in abolition, by the way. You know what I mean? And I think that's an L. And it's kind of like what AOC is doing here. So concerned about with optics instead of standing on principle. No, I don't think he I don't think he believes in abolition. I don't think he's an abolitionist. I don't think he's doing it like as a strategic. I don't think he. I think when he talks about abolition, I think he's being truthful about what he believes. You know what I mean? I don't think he gets it either, but I agree. No, I agree with that as well. Like I like his I can say what I disagree with him. I think I also don't think that he understands the core position behind abolition. Why is Chris Rapp not who they use as an example, but AOC who flops all the time? Because they agree with AOC, right? They agree with the whole like, we need dark woke, we need dark woke, we need dark woke kind of thing. You know what I mean? They agree with the we need woke 2.0, woke 2, well 1.0 was went too far or whatever. Right? And what really pisses me off is people gaslighting me about this tweet that I made. Here. I said woke 2 is just saying slurs and crying about anti-white racism, and all the cowards being too afraid to call it out when it's their favorite journal or the dark woke commander doing it. And then I said, oh, it's also about supporting defense contractors because they say healthcare. Can't forget that about that one. And that's it. If people were gaslighting me, be like, well, I haven't seen anybody saying this. Here, I want to see if I can find it. The person says, to be honest, I haven't seen any. To be honest, I've yet to see. I've yet seen someone doing what you're describing here. So my bad if I'm off base. As I'm referring to specific people I've seen do exactly what I've described. Koglinsky and Ryan Grimm. Right, not abolitionists either. But I'd rather abolish prisons than to keep the current structure. I think abolition is a starting point. It's kind of my perspective on it. I talked about my position on abolition before, and to give you a very neutered version of it, I think in my worldview, there are fundamental institutions that are broken on its inception. Right? It's like building a house on a swamp. Right? You can't do it. No matter how many times you try to refurbish the house, you replace the banisters, right? You try to reseat the foundation, you try to just a little bit more concrete. A little bit more concrete, it'll save it. You can't do it. Right? The house will keep sinking. It'll keep sinking. It'll keep sinking. You can't build a house on a shaky foundation. Oh, I forgot Sierra's here. Hey, Cece. Well, she's listening to me yelling this entire time. Excuse me. How's Nyx? Nyx doesn't want to be in here. She left. She's fine though. Abolition police is a recognition of the irreconcilable antagonism of the U.S. Society. The core function of policing arose out of slave catchers, that policing functions as a way to destroy any means for Black people to organize against white supremacy. That's why the institution must be abolished. Yes. There are certain institutions in this country that I think are inherently flawed. Right? I think policing is one. I think prisons are one. I think ICE is one. And functionally, I think the American state itself is one. Right? You're never going to be able to reform the American state into a position of being working. Senate. I mean, the Senate itself is less about being inherently bigoted and more about just being unrepresentative. Does that make sense? So the Senate should be abolished, not because it's inherently bigoted, more so than the House of Representatives is, just because it's not representative of the country. Right? I don't know to explain how much I appreciate your comments here on this. Thank you. it's a much more idealist to imagine reforming a policing system that has spent hundreds of thousands, hundreds of years operating in service of white supremacy. Yeah. And again, that's why like electoralism can be useful to that goal, right? But like you need to fundamentally restructure this country from the ground up. I can't think about how reductive woke one what crazy is. Like just a big fuck you to everyone who's fighting for their rights. Yeah. And it's even more of a big FU because they've abandoned the mission, you know? They've genuinely abandoned it. Right? Genuinely. Show me when. Right? Show me when. Like AOC last talked about police reform. Reform. Not abolition. Right? Not like defunding. Just reform. Show me when the wider leftist movement actually engaged with like police reform. That's what I mean when I say it was abandoned, right? They're talking about ICE now, not because ICE is like so much worse than policing is as a system, which some people would say. I mean, you had Kyle Klinsky like defending the police in service of like criticizing ICE. You know what I mean? Is ever the mission they just wanted votes and door knocking and will hold on to their seats of power, which is what upsets me is that like people pretend like that's not the case. You know what I mean? The only reason why liberals were even able to co-opt the term woke in the first place was because leftists gave it up. Right? That's it. I said it when we were talking about language as well. Didn't he say to join ICE? Yes. But he also was like, you know, ICE is even clashing with our police officers. Or whatever. It was in the same video. We watched it. Right? And like, honestly, and this is like a part of the wider conversation, I still think it's crazy that like no prominent leftist has called out Ryan Grimm for his insanity. Genuinely. It is genuinely crazy. It is genuinely insane. He's doing Charlie Kirk style, like anti-white racism, rhetoric. And like nobody has called it out. And that's kind of wild. It's also kind of crazy that people claim that Coglins is a leftist. But that's a separate thing. If like a Caroline Kwan has maybe. Or somebody just said a Caroline Kwan link, hold on. But Caroline has a site for her VODs. Bro, no one made me a site for my VODs. Hell. Oh, fake friends. Fake fans. How many of us? How many of us?
Cadenza 23 just subscribed.
Can I just think for the tier 1? Hold on. What was it? 39 minutes?
Talking. It just shows everyone else in that group how you actually feel about them and how they would be treated if they weren't on your side. Yeah, and you know, I keep saying this, but I feel like a lot of the way people are joking around woke one, like, wow, woke one, what was up with that? It's like, what do you? What,
I did see
what
Dems
do you
on
mean?
Hassan stream.
What is
like a
what is
screenshot
your
of it.
problem? What is it about woke one era that you find so laughably problem? What is it about that? It's like the way people are joking around woke one, like, wow, woke one, what was up with that? It's like, what do you mean? What is your problem? What is it about woke one era that you find so laughably absurd that like those of us who, which ostensibly if you're a leftist, you were fighting against police brutality and the system of policing, like I'm feeling nuts at how reactionary people are behaving in kind of using now woke as this meme term and referring to the social justice movements by and large in the 2010s as, wow, woke one, we were pretty stupid, huh?
Yeah. Man, kind of cooks on this. True. Because again, I said it before, I'll say it again. Say what you want about liberals co-opting like the movement or whatever. At least they pretended to care about black people. Leftists won't even do that. Leftists are like, oh, sorry, class? No, not class? Oh, not my problem. But then, right? But then it's like, why do black people like the Democratic Party? Right? Why are black people not voting for socialists? Even though they do. So like if they're wrong, okay, here's my turn. I think leftists are just stupid in that they genuinely have no idea what black people are thinking. Genuinely. They have no clue. Wait, I gotta give me a timestamp. Chatter. Any timestamp for the VOD. Would you say that they're not woke? Some would say they're not woke. No, I think they're dumb. I mean, Chris Rob wouldn't have said this.
But by the way, just a quick definitional thing. What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, I mean, there's many.
Yeah.
One prevailing one is democracy. And I believe that democratic socialists are fundamentally pro-democracy. And we believe in the ballot box. We believe in respecting the outcomes of elections and governing democratically and ensuring that the ideas and policies that are implemented are won through popular vote and popular opinion. And so I think that's why so much of what we focus on is also making sure that we are providing for the majority of Americans, guaranteeing health care, raising wages, strengthening the right to a union.
See, this is the funniest part about this, right? Because her answer is fundamentally wrong, right? Not just in like how socialism and communism differ, right? The question was a trap. The question was a trap. It was a trap, and she fell right into it. Right? The actual answer is, well, you know, socialism, communism, whatever. Like, I think people were more concerned about paying their bills than like whether or not they're the elected official who was doing that for them is a socialist or a communist. Right? I think if a socialist helps them pay their bills or a communist helps them pay their bills, I think the voting base would be, you know, grateful for that person addressing their material needs. And I think that socialists, communists, democratic socialists, and the entirety of the left flank focuses on that in the way that like the right doesn't. Right? Don't feed into like the whole like, you know, separation between communists and socialists. It's done specifically to build that fracture in there. This is the result of calling everyone stupid for thinking book clubs and political education are essential for socialist movements. For a decade, it's been people running off of vibes and no theory. Anti-communist sock dims will walk us on a primrose path to the camps when push comes to shove. Like, again, like there are answers you can have to these questions that like isn't like feeding into exactly what they want, right? AOC is doing exactly what they want by doing this, right? Distancing herself from like the radical positions of the left, like abolishing the police, and that you know, some of our holidays are based and rooted in subjugation and oppression, right? And that like, unlike those dirty commies, us democratic socialists care about democracy or whatever. right? Or just, you know, just talk to the actual answer, which like I think a lot of people who call themselves communists have a very further thinking path of what they want for the American society. And we don't have to fully agree on what that path is, but I think that if the country, communist, liberal, socialist, or whatever, right? Even like people who don't identify as any political ascription, right? I think we can all agree on certain things, like we shouldn't be funding a genocide overseas with our tax dollars, right? Like this is culture war, chat. When I say don't engage with the culture war, it's not just like right wing doing like anti-trans propaganda. It's also like the left flank doing anti-communist or engaging with anti-communist propaganda. That's also culture war, right? Your answer should always bring it back to policy, right? To addressing the material needs and concerns. If they bring up BLM and abolish the police, right, you bring it back to police don't protect and serve people, right? I mean, bring up Flock. Bring up how there's been like over like 50 cases nationwide in the last like 3 months of police officers like abusing Flock cameras that have been popping up in people's communities, right? Why are we throwing millions upon millions of dollars at these people when they're using that money to stalk people, right? I think that money could be used towards actual community safety initiatives, right? And to limiting the factors that cause crime as opposed to like going to helping a cop stalk his ex-wife, right? I hate people acting like there's no solution to these questions, right? There's no answer. I just gave you like 4 answers, right? People hate data centers. They hate Flock. They hate the surveillance data that's hanging over their heads. They hate AI, right? And you should be in control of these interviews, right? I'd like to give her the 5 get this subs, right? You should be in control of these interviews. You should be guiding, right, where this is going. They ask you about communism, you say, communists are not the people making your egg prices too high. You know what I mean? Communists are not the reason why you can't afford your rent, right? I mean, they call Zohar Mamdani a communist. He's fixing a lot of the issues in New York City. You love Zohar Mamdani, right? And that's who they're calling a communist. So if that's what they're calling a communist, maybe communism isn't that bad. Right? But that's what it means to be principled, to stand for something. That's it. Anyone else finish this?
And I think that that's at its core what we're about.
Are you still a member of Democratic Socialists of America?
Of the New York City chapter.
The New York City chapter, not the national.
No.
People also, okay, this is also an interesting thing because like I saw some of my DSA mutuals who were like, that's not how that works. Which somebody explain to me how that's different than like Will Lawrence. Like conceptually, how that's different than Will Lawrence. It's AOC like distancing herself from the DSA. It sounds kind of the same. Well, it's just a smaller figure. That's it. But I think people just like AOC, right? And I'm sorry, distancing yourself from socialism is not going to win her the election, right? What will win her the election is not doing stuff like this. Hold on. You know what I'm going to show. It's not the same. How is it not the same? It's not the same, Poppy. Sorry. She's being precise. She's really in the New York DSA chapters that her distancing herself, like playing these obtuse game. Yeah.
We cannot afford to leave Tennessee behind. We cannot afford to leave Kentucky behind, Alabama behind, Mississippi behind, Georgia behind, South Carolina behind.
Hold on, I have the best tweet. Hold on. Woke 1.0 would have never let this slide. Is that real? Yes. Yes, it's real. I'm posting it. That's really funny. I don't believe there is a national. From what I understand from back when she first got elected, she immediately distanced herself. That rose emoji was gone for a Twitter bio like the next day. Stop. I don't even like I don't even hate AOC, by the way. I don't hate AOC. Right? I feel the same way about AOC that I do about like a lot of like DSA people, which is like ambivalence, you know? Like she would be a better option than like Kamala Harris, like obviously. Like in the same way Kamala Harris would be a better option than Trump. Who do you hate? Kyle Klinsky. And Ryan Graham. And Graham Plattner. Which I also had a tweet about as well. Hold on. It was here. I said I'm also seeing very interesting racial lines being drawn over this discussion. Reminds me of Plattner a bit, but there's probably not there probably won't be any self-reflection there. Do we love McCrow? I don't really care about McCrow. Do you like any politicians? I don't like people. No, there are politicians that I do like more than other ones. I like Milak Kiros. I like Dario Liza. I like Chris Rabb. I like Jamal Bowman. This record said don't like politicians. I like Summer Lee. Do you like any white people? I have positive feelings towards Hassan, if that means anything. I'm sorry. But I do like Oliver Larkin. I do like. Is it Rab white? No, because Rab is not white. He's black. Have you seen much from Donovan McKinney? Listen, I have a take on Oliver Larkin and Donovan McKinney, which is you might see me with them at some point in the future. We're not roommates. Come to Florida, that's my district. I will be coming to Florida. I will indeed be coming to Florida. I think it's a rally, right? I thought Donovan was a white man, so I actually locked in. It is a rally. I'll be at a rally in Florida. I'm cool with some white people, Asian, black people, and Hispanic people, but I live in Arizona. So we have some of everyone here. Arizona's hot. Go to Miami, that's not happening. Gotta eat some gator. I don't know any white Donovan. Who's that guy from Lab Rats? Is it his name Donovan? No, his name was Davenport. That's what it was. It was Davenport. Don't anybody say cookout. No, cookout's been canceled. It's not happening. Please don't show up uninvited. Anyway, there's more tweets about this. Let's see if there's any more. This person has been going on a tirade defending the woke 1.0. Why is everyone so butt hurt and humorless? Woke 1.0 is a reappropriation of the appropriation, a parodic term that signifies the corporatization and uselessness. It also deflates criticism. Also, calling it crazy, a word Woke 1.0 would have deemed unwoke, is very funny. What? This person sucks. And this person said, conservatives co-opted the term referencing black consciousness and used it to denigrate pro-black and progressive politics, and liberals followed suit by referring to a decade of pro-black and progressive politics as woke derogatory to bond with Confederates. Where's the humor? Yeah. This is actually not meaningfully different than like Vosh like dropping the N-word to like show that he's actually like not woke. Right? He's showing his interlocutors that his words aren't effective. Actually, this is literally what I discussed in my video. Right? In an attempt to like appeal to normalcy. You know. Which also, okay, also I need to show you this video because I had a comment on this video. Someone was like, yeah, that's not 8 Chief for my white Chris Brown, who's actually a member of the DSA. Which you should watch because this is me talking about like Ryan Grimm saying that like we're being too mean to white people. Like, I'm sorry, you are not gonna get me to take you seriously by being like, sorry, being white is like being gay. So, I mean, what? You didn't see it? No. Show you this clip, and I'm going to show you timestamp that somebody else showed me in chat just now. I'm talking about this. I see this clip that said Ryan Grimm says he's glad Platinum won because it's forced progressives to confront bigotry against white men, comparing it to people coming out of the closet to address homophobia. If he said this while he worked at The Intercept, HR would have pushed him into lava.
And a lot of people were dunking all over Chris Rabb for it. I think this is an important and needed conversation to have. That's one reason that I'm glad that Plattner's in the race, because he's forcing this conversation. And you can't, I don't think you can kind of force people, you can't force it back in, but what you can do is have that conversation. Like, and talk to people like, why are people so passionately supportive of Plattner?
Tease it out, yeah.
And then get from people like, why do you hate him so much? Like, what is it? Like, because for Rab, and for I think a lot of others, it's just aesthetics. It's like that he looks like somebody they don't like.
I think that's correct. I mean,
that's why
bro, you dog, suck my nut. Genuinely, like what Chris Rabb said. If you didn't see yesterday, watch the stream yesterday. But what Chris Rabb said basically was like, when it comes to Graham Plattner, it's obvious that he's getting a lot of leeway for his behavior that I wouldn't get as a black person because he is white. That's what's the crux of the conversation, right? And this is Ryan Grimm's response. Ryan Grimm is like, well, I think Chris Rabb actually feels like that because it's completely about aesthetics, right? He looks at a Graham Plattner and he sees a white man. And obviously, I think it's also very important to note, this is very important, a lot of these like white, like leftist influencers got very famous during Woke One, off the back of Woke One, over the black people who were actually being harmed by these systems of oppression. That's an important note that I haven't seen many people discuss, right? So I was Woke Bay, yeah. Like, they got famous off of Woke One, made millions of dollars off of Woke One. Black people got nothing, right? It's not like black people, by and large, were elevated to positions of prominence, even during like the woke era of like Woke One. Or whatever. It was Woke One 2020. I think that's the generally agreed upon time frame. Or going like 2014. No, people are talking about addressing 2020. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about 2014. They're talking about 2020. They're talking about liberal co-option of the movement pushed towards corporatization, which happened in 2020. It couldn't have happened in 2014 because it hadn't happened yet. You know what I mean? 2020 was like, is what people are discussing. right? But they got famous being commentators talking about, like, you know, black rights and police brutality in 2020. Black people were not, by and large, getting famous, right? It was in the creator sphere. You know? Like, this includes, like, Hassan, like, you know, Kyle Kalinske, like all these like white leftist influencers who are popping now. Like, Breaking Point's covered BLM as well. Right? You can name them, probably the case. That's where they found a lot of their success. And so it's crazy to then use, right, that movement to springboard yourself to success. And then, like, I mean, including like Bernie Sanders. Like, Bernie Sanders would not have gotten as big as he did, right? As popular as he did without, like, that movement. You feel me? I guess you can say brown sugar gray a little bit, but, like, not nearly to the same extent. You know? But now it's like, man, Woke One was crazy. Thanks for all the money, though, by the way. Thanks for all the money, though, by the way. Right, so I think that's a very important part of the discussion. Is that they were fine with Woke One when it was enriching them and making them money. Right, when talking about black people brought them clicks and likes and attention and eyeballs, they were totally fine with it. Right? And now they get to, like, virtue signal being like, oh no, see, that was a wild time. So when it stopped being cool and making the money. Yeah. I think Bernie is different. As you know, they had a MLK speaking at a protest Bernie went to. No, I don't think that's kind of not really relevant to that discussion. Like, Bernie Sanders has not become a like a national, like, name until, like, you know, say like the 2012 to 2020 era. That's where Bernie's prominence grew, right? To being on the national stage. That's where the Bernie bro archetype came from, right? It was bred out of 2016. You know what I mean? That's where it came from. Bernie's prominence grew from Obama's failures. Yeah. So I'm not saying Bernie himself is, like, a fraud or whatever. I'm just saying that, like, the prominence that came from a lot of leftists now came from that movement, because it wasn't, like, just a movement of online teenagers yelling at freaking skinny people saying that, like, you know, you make me feel bad for being fat or whatever people think was happening. Right? That's just not the case. Dude, that's wrong and unjust.
Want that conversation because I feel like we can maybe break through.
It's a great conversation for you in particular to have, because we've been talking about this for a long time. And
it's a flip side of back in the early 2010s,
yeah,
and 2000s, when the gay rights movement was gaining steam.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What
the Barney Frank argument?
What people discovered, is that you've got a gay uncle. You're like,
listen, Chatter, you can call me a liberal, you can't call me a liar. Call me a liberal, you can't call me a liar.
You actually, once people started coming out of the closet,
the Andrew Sullivan argument.
Yeah, once people started coming out of the closet, like, oh, that guy's gay. I love that guy. He's great, and my life is fine around him. This is the reverse for liberals.
Are you being banned? This is, like, your third new account. Are your accounts being banned? Like, genuinely, I was like, I saw that last time. Can you be serious? No, Ryan Grimm is 100% serious.
Like, this is a white guy.
Yeah,
and he's actually pretty nice.
A big burly combat vet.
Big burly combat.
Also, you peeped that he called Chris Rabin liberal here, by the way. Chris Rabin was actually a member of the DSA, right? Stop. Okay, sorry. Where's the... I should probably find the original video, but like... Anyway, the point was that like he was just saying that like, you know, we're being too mean to white men or whatever. Should I be flagging the account as a spam? Maybe. I missed that Scrim clip. Oh, really? Yeah, he was basically like, Plattner is showing people that like white men can be okay too, which is very funny in hindsight. It's very funny in hindsight, knowing what we know about Plattner now. You know, here, I'll play this Caroline clip.
Yeah, so this was really bad, obviously. And then one of the other big things that happened in the last day and a half that I saw a lot of people upset by, I myself was upset by, and I believe that Dropsite must have experienced a financial hit because they did put out this statement today. And I was like, ooh, I bet people canceled their subscriptions. Now, what I will say is that Ryan Grimm has done a lot of great reporting exposing Israel's genocide. But Ryan Grimm is very captured by this idea that the left has a white male problem, but in the way that like leftists are too mean to white men and that men are being left behind, that white men are being left behind. He does identity politics, but specifically for whiteness, which is very reactionary coded, while also decrying all the other types of identity politics. Like he does identity politics.
Yeah, and this is where like it gets really frustrating. You know what I mean? This is where it gets really frustrating because this needs to be called out. Which shout out to Caroline for saying this, because like this does need to be called out, right? If you want my genuine commentary about how you bring like normie black people in, like into the movement. We know because of polling, they are more open to socialism than white people are, right? We know that they are more open to socialism than white people are. We know for a fact that they are willing to vote progressive, right? And for socialists in elections, right? But how do you fix that? Right? How do you engage with that? How do you combat that in like the mainstream, right? And you can't do that when you see black people tuning in for the first time to the movement to see everybody shouting out Ryan Grimm, and Ryan Grimm is like, anti-white racism is a problem. Does that make sense? Right? If you're asking me why black people don't want to engage with the movement, right? Why does the progressive movement have a perception of being anti-black, even though they advocate for policies that are pro-black people? It's because the people in the movement are racist, right? And Ryan Grimm crying about anti-black racism turns people off. And I'm sorry, not talking about it, right, doesn't make people want to trust you either. Does that make sense? That's very that's the important part of the discussion. Is that if you want black people to further like directly engage with the DSA and the progressive movement, right? You have to address that. Right? And this is something that happened in Assange stream, I think a few weeks ago, when this this part just dropped of the Graham Platter stuff. Because there was a discussion about Ryan Graham. Remember? Yes, I'm still gonna find it. I don't know if I covered it on the stream. It was on July 30th. July 30th. Hold on. I want you to show you the reaction. Like 4:30.
But it only helped clarify Democrat policies, regardless of my criticisms of some of the more prominent chorus actors. There are still plenty of people on the chorus payroll that are abso-fucking-lutely pro-Palestine, very much in support of people like Melai Kiros, right? At the Melai Kiros rally, that are left flank is antagonistic. So, the point is, independent media on the left flank is antagonistic to the establishment Democrats. Independent media on the right flank is in support of the establishment of the Republican Party. That's a major difference. Okay? That is a major difference. Reese Peck, a media culture professor at the College of Staten Island, said left-wing version of what has happened slowly, beginning with the momentum of Senator Bernie Sanders' first presidential run in 2016. At the time, left-wing anti-establishment YouTube accounts and podcasts like The Young Turks, Chapo Trap House were gaining attention but didn't reach the majority of Democratic voters. Now Democrats have realized...
Again, this was in 2016, right? 2020. This perfectly illustrates my point, actually. Right? Discussing how, like, TYT, Chapo Trap House, Secular Talk, Breaking Points, Hassan, all grew in that time. All, white, but all grew during that woke one period, right? They benefited from woke one disproportionately when compared to like the way that it engaged with black people, right? Maybe the majority report as well. Like, disproportionately benefited from it. And so it's just weird to, like, as a retrospective, turn around and be like, oh, woke one, that was such a crazy time. When, like, it only became a crazy time because the people who grew during that time didn't keep pushing for that change after, like, Joe Biden got elected or whatever. The movement went back home. Everybody went back home. Summer was over. It's hitting 2020. Elections happening soon. Everybody voted for Joe Biden. He won. We all won. Yay. And then it wrapped up. You know what I mean? That was the true failure of woke one. The failure of 2020 was after the election of Joe Biden, right? Black people's rights were seemed to have fixed. It was over.
Realized their faith in institutions didn't prevent Trump's return. The ground has been made fertile for an anti-establishment media politics where it just wasn't quite there when with the voter base in those previous cycles, Peck said. Even older, moderate liberals, he said, have started to throw their hands in the air and look for alternatives. I can give you my own personal experience with this. There have been plenty of establishment Democrats that have wanted to come on this fucking stream. So just remember that. YouTube accounts like Secular Talk and Breaking Point, streamers like Hassan Piker, and the new digital journalism organizations like More Perfect Union, The Lever.
Chatter, there is no systemic racism against white people. I don't know how to explain that to you. It's not a thing. You may have been prejudiced against, maybe. There's no systemic racism against white people. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. I'm not saying that people can't be like, oh, I hate white people or whatever. Like that does exist, but like there is no system of oppression that is imposed upon you to keep you down. I wish. Like, I don't know if you can say that. But Twitch be kind of crazy. Systemic racism against white people, white supremacist country is hilarious. Yeah. I mean, white people do face oppression on the basis of class. You face class oppression, but you don't face like systemic racial oppression. Hey, white people is bigotry, not racism. Listen, we can get into the discussion of bigotry versus racism. The fact that we're still having it shows that, like, we haven't gone woke enough until we defined bigotry versus oppression, or bigotry versus racism. Anyways, continue.
Are among those that have seen their audiences multiply. Grimm said Dropsite amassed 800,000 free and 60,000 paid subscribers since launching 2 years ago, more than he'd anticipated.
I mean, like, Kyle, shout out, stay hungry. Like, again, these are the same people who are like, woke one was crazy and it went too far. You know what I mean? The same people. If you don't know what this is a reference to, this is a reference to Kyle Glinski dropping the N-word on his Twitter. The tweets are still up. And they do this all the time. Every time Kyle is mentioned, it's Kyle, let's go, Dark Woke Commander, hungry, hungry, hungry. Like, I'm sorry, like, no amount of Hassan campaigning with black people is going to make black people feel safe when this is the community. There's no other way to describe it. There's no amount of campaigning with black people, right? Because they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, this is what we're doing now, and then they'll leave. Then Kyle posted a weird AI pic recently. Yes, he did. Hassan likes Kyle has a problem. They're following his lead. Hassan can like Kyle, and Hassan can like Ryan Grimm, right? But my expectation is that, like, you gotta police the stuff like this. You mentioned of Kyle's a CSAT AI meme. Yeah, whoa. He clearly likes it clearly. I don't know about that. If that's the case, but like that's the issue. Hassan knows personally, so he can't really say otherwise. No, he 100%. That's more of a reason why he should do it. Right? I'm not even saying that he needs to go out and attack Ryan Grimm and Kyle Glinski, right? But to be like, yo, chat, let's not joke about Kyle having said the N-word in the past. I don't think that's very funny. Right? It kind of reads to me like you're shuffling cards, magic cards. It kind of reads to me like the way that like men say that they can't police their friends. They're like, no, listen, you don't understand. Like, I can't possibly tell my friend that they're being a little weirdo. He's like, no, yes, you can. You know what I mean? Because when you tell your friend they're being a little weirdo, they'll stop being a weirdo. Peer pressure works in that direction too. Right? When your friend says something and you're just like, yo, that's weird. You know what I mean? And nobody laughs at their joke, they'll be like, oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that, actually. Right? But when you normalize it, right, and you create the permission structure that they continue to do that, but as long as not really friends with any of them, I don't know if that's true. I don't necessarily agree with that. Regardless of Hassan being friends with them or not, he can tell his chat to stop joking about Kyle saying the N-word. Like, Kyle's history of saying the N-word is like not really a meme. Check just about that. That's what this is, right? I had a screenshot I posted in Discord about the. Here, I want to see if I can find it. Hold on. No, where's it at? It's in my Discord. Has a link image. And off topic. was a while ago. But I took a screenshot of it because it was like so insane that when Kyle Klinsky got brought up, the chat was spamming hungry as a reference to like Kyle saying the N-word. I'm like, I want them to explain what's funny about that. You know what I mean? Like I want them to explain what the joke is. But the fact that they feel comfortable doing that shows that like Woke One didn't go far enough. Kyle. Oh, I saw it. I saw it. I found it. I found it. Kyle Klinsky gets on the screen. This is what the chat turns into. Is a reference to this tweet. The tweet is still up, by the way. This is just on an archive that I found by searching it out. Is it still up? It's because it's Kyle Klinsky. Right? So when they say dark woke commander, this is what they're talking about. Dark woke is more repulsive to normies than Woke One ever was. If one never calls out bigotry in their own circles and community, isn't that an endorsement? Silence enables white supremacy and maintains as per usual. Still out. Yeah. Which again, white people were cheering this on back then too. So again, this idea that like Woke One was crazy and went too far, it didn't go far enough. White people were cheering this on when this happened. Quote unquote progressive white people. You feel me? Which again, I'm not even saying that like Kyle needs to be held accountable for this tweet that he made in 2011 or whatever. But like the fact that in 2026, chatters are like memeing about it, and it's a meme and it's a joke, which is just like Chad hungry. What does this mean? What does it mean? I want you to explain what that means. Please break down the joke for me. Does that make sense? And it's the same thing with Ryan Grimm when it comes to like this. You know? Ryan Grimm is basically being like, anti-white racism is a very real thing that exists. And people are like, oh no, we must ignore it because he does good does good journalism. Right? But they're so quick to call out wreckers, right? That they perceive as wreckers. So quick to call out people that they perceive as wrecking the movement. But like, when this behavior, which I am telling you right now, turns off black people from the movement. Black people will tune in because they're like, you know, socialism is a good thing. Let me see what's going on here. And then they'll see stuff like this and they'll be like, all right, time for me to go. Right? They're not going to go to the Republicans. They just won't vote. So again, if you look at the New York Times thing, the New York Times a piece that they did about like black voters, how all of them were like, we love socialism actually. And you're wondering why that's not reflexive in like these spaces, right? That's why. That's why.
We played a big role in that as well. Saul Levin, a Michigan progressive organizer who recently started his own podcast about artificial intelligence data centers, said Trump's attacks on the existing media landscape are a part of the reason for that growth. The investigations and raids on numerous different journalists, the appointment of specifically aligned billionaires to lead various major news agencies is very troubling, he said. Creators and new media outlets are stepping in to try to fill the gaps. Alternative media is prominent in the Michigan primary. The Michigan primary will be the latest test of the evolving media ecosystem, with Al Sayed, a longtime podcaster himself, has tried to harness. Various progressive outlets, creators, and organizers have aggressively promoted his campaign. Al Sayed said the rise of independent media has let voters compare news across different channels to notice biases, but he doesn't turn down opportunities on legacy media either. I go on Fox News, I go on podcasts, I Twitch stream.
Same thing, right? It's just like Chad Kyle. Like, again, Kyle, like, I want these people to explain to me, like, what Kyle does specifically. That is, like, actually Chad. What about his behavior that he does is Kyle's not a radical. He's not a socialist. He's not a communist. He's not a radical, right? He posts AI memes about Mitch McConnell, right? And says slurs. That's literally it. That is his output. That's his output. You talk about the same space as Dean Withers? Yeah, okay, I wouldn't be that. We'll go that far. Dean Withers is, like, in my opinion, like slightly worse in that regard, but it's similar, yes. Maybe it's just me, but I always thought they were talking about Kyle unironically. Ironically, no, this is completely unironic, chat. They love Kyle. He does on Republicans, I guess. Yeah, but the funniest part about that is when black people were doing that, these same people had an issue with it. That's my issue with dark woke and woke 1.0 versus 2.0. It's when black people were dunking on Republicans, these same people took an issue with it, right? It's, no, you're pushing people away. No, you're being repealing to people. You have to be nice. You have to bring them into the fold. Right? But now when Kyle Glinski is just doing what black people have been doing, not the slur part, but like the be mean to Republican part. You know what I mean? Now it's just like, yeah. But in this entire dynamic, do you know who loses out? Do you say the N-word? That's right. Do you know who loses out? Black people. Black people are not being promoted as like prominent voices of the online left. Black people are not making millions upon millions of dollars off of the backs of this these conversations. You feel me? It's just not happening, right? White people benefited from woke one off of the backs of the black people who were suffering. And it's kind of gross to then turn around and then admonish that same movement, right? That you abandoned when it no longer served your purposes. And that's what happened. And it's gross. And I don't like it.
We have a YouTube channel, he said. Stevens received endorsements from outgoing incumbent Senator Gary Peters, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Senate.
We don't talk about Sean King.
Democratic leader Chuck Schumer has a more traditional approach. She's also backed by the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, which has spent close to $30 million on the race, more than doesn't even fight Instagram and Blue Sky in 2026 alone, out of fear of how they'll be received. More recently, when Dropsite interviewed progressive U.S. Representative Ro Khanna of California, last remaining investigative reporters in this goddamn country. Some of the major investigative reporters have unfortunately found themselves, caping for Republicans at times. Some of them have had unique and eclectic interests and opinions. Jeremy Scahill has not. He's one of the best investigative reporters. It's him and Olivia Reingold. Yeah. Just him and Olivia Reingold of the Free Press. But Grimm said, those are the kinds of tough questions independent media are there to ask.
Did you miss it? No, I
and
think it's
that
later.
American voters increasingly want to see their representatives in Congress answer. People want to see you being accountable to questions, and if they don't agree with you, sometimes that's fine. He said, I think the smarter politicians are starting to recognize that. Yeah.
It was a little bit after this, I think, because chat kept bringing up Ryan Grimm and his faults. I don't know if you saw I got added here.
I think people need to chill on Ryan Grimm. Okay. I see a lot of Ryan Grimm hate over the Graham Plattner stuff. Look, there have been plenty of instances throughout both of our careers where, I've found myself sometimes disagreeing with Ryan Grimm. You guys need to fucking calm down. Okay. I'll say it. Sometimes you're not going to agree with Grimm's coverage on certain issues. Who cares? You're wrong on this one, King. No, he still is a phenomenal reporter overall. He's been going off about Fauci. Oh God, stop. Look. All right, there you go. I shouldn't have even brought it up. I shouldn't have even said anything.
Right, and it's that conversation, right? Ryan Grimm is literally doing Charlie Kirk style anti-white racism is such a big problem thing. You know what I mean? That's an issue. That's a problem. So Ryan Grimm, Kyle Kalinske, like that same sort of thing. Because I criticize Glenn Greenwald and still defended journalism he's done in the past. Can't criticize Ryan Grimm in spite of having good reportings. Ryan Grimm goes on the stream. So I don't think Hassan is close with Glenn Greenwald, but I think he is close with Ryan Grimm. Yes, Ryan Grimm is a lab leaker. Ryan Grimm said that Fauci should be jailed because he lied to the public. It's literally indistinguishable from like MAGA positions. like down to like the right, Dr. Fauci should be jailed because he lied to the public about what happened with COVID and forced the shutdown or whatever. Like, it's crook behavior, right? Not crook, sorry. It's kook behavior. You feel me? That's the issue, right? And so going back to
there's a level.
Why did I open the Shamik War video? But going back to the Caroline post, like that's the conversation, right? When it comes to like, and Ryan Grimm is like the main voice crying about woke. He's been crying about woke forever, right? Ryan Grimm. I'm not being like what's the word? Not exaggeratory. What's the word? I'm not being hyperbolic about this, right? When I say that Ryan Grimm holds identical positions to like a Tucker Carlson, right? Or a Ben Shapiro in certain positions. When it comes to COVID, when it comes to like anti-white racism on the left. He regularly agrees with Chris Rufo. Yeah, he's like, yeah, he handshakes with Nazis. He handshakes with Nazis when they align with like taking down affirmative action. Right? See the woke 1-2 Discords hit Morning Joe? I did not see that. Aggressive except for race. I mean, he's white. He's a white man who and that filters his perspective, right? The issue is he's coddled. The only issue is that he's coddled up for it. No critique, no criticism from the wider space. Ryan Grimm, right? Because they moved on, right? So long as you're good on Palestine, that's kind of it for them, right? Or at least good on ICE as well in certain instances, right? Until they move off of that as well, then it'll be as long as you're good on that issue, the next issue, or the next issue, right? Because we don't have any guiding principles. We should be able to critique the things that people say, even people that we like, right? And the fact that we can't shows that, again, woke one didn't go far enough here. I was doing the morning show thing, and then we'll get back to Caroline.
I don't need people, but please, I don't need people telling me, oh, you have to just turn a blind eye to people saying that women getting raped on October 7th didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. No, Americans aren't going to support that. This is not about me. This is about the Democrats, once again, fumbling the football on the 2-yard line when they have a chance to make great gains, but being so woke, I don't know if you want to call it woke 1, woke 2, or woke 3, but being too woke to call out the obvious.
This is why you don't engage with the culture war. You will never win when you engage with the culture war. You will never win. Does that make sense? Stop doing culture war stuff. Woke has lost all meaning. Yes, and leftists have played a huge role in that. So now you're going to see establishment liberal Democrats co-opt the woke 1, woke 2 dynamic, right? Back from the co-opted dynamic from the leftists that was co-opted from the liberals, that was co-opted from black people, right? Using that against you because you've now engaged in the culture war.
I swear to God. It's crazy that we're even having this conversation. If somebody says a woman being raped doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, it's okay to call that person out and demand that candidates distance themselves.
Like you've kind of aligned with Joe here. Like Joe is against Hassan, right? But he's not like his rhetoric is not like the inverse of AOC's. AOC and Joe have aligned on the way that like we are too woke. You know, we need a new woke. We need a different woke, right? And that's what happens when you engage with the culture war. You will never win a fight in the culture war, right? Now we're having a battle about what kind of woke is the good kind of woke and what kind of woke is too woke, right? Like Joe is like 2 steps removed from saying that the Democrats are being wreckers and they're being woke of the day for allowing Hassan to be in the party or whatever. You know what I mean? This is why you will never win with the culture war. You will never win with culture war fights, which is why AOC should have immediately been like, listen, what are we talking about here, bro? What are we talking about here? Let's talk about what actually matters here. Right? Once you start being into like, well, actually, you know, it was a different time back then. And we were very woke back then. And now we're just not as woke anymore. Right? Like you've given too much ground to the culture war. I tried to explain to a Norman yesterday why DEI was bad. That's what the hell is DEI? Nobody's don't know. The D's, they just want to buy groceries. Yeah. It's just like, stop engaging with the culture war. Can we blame Chi? I mean, I blame Chiose a little bit. He's not chiefly at fault for this, but he also fell into the same trap of like the culture war like behavior, right? He fell into the same like woke 1, woke 2, dark woke, regular woke dynamics. You feel me? And it's all a distraction. It's the same level of a distraction as like focusing on like Haley Stevenson's voice. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? They're distractions, right? They're all distractions. And when you engage with the culture war, right, you're being distracted from what people actually do care about, and that's the policies, right? Stop getting distracted. Even if you think you're like doing it to like show like how bad old woke was, regular voters don't care about online woke politics or whatever, right? Regular Republicans. I'm telling you right now, working class people who vote Republican, they don't even really care, right? Are you going to go to a Republican person and be like, yeah, we went too far in 2020? Is that going to really make them an ally? Or are you going to tell them, hey, you're getting distracted, right? Focus, look at me, right? Groceries, right? Rent. That's what you do. You don't engage with the culture war, right? You refocus them away from that because it doesn't matter, right? This is the same thing as saying like, well, you know, Republicans hate like immigration, so like, or Republicans hate abortion, so we have to elect. It's Ezra Klein. Ezra Klein saying we need to elect pro-life, right, anti-abortion Democrats to appeal to the Republicans is the same conversation. It's the same thing. It's culture war, right? Talking about how the left was too woke before, and now we're not woke anymore. We're a different kind of woke. It's the culture war, right? It's the culture war. Stop it. Stop engaging with it. People who want to be more dark woke and not talking about healthcare almost cooked them. Yes. And I said it before as well. People yelled at me. We had a discussion here. People yelled at me for for getting mad at him for like apologizing for to Haley Stevens or whatever. And people were like, no, he should make fun of her voice more. Like, you're doing the culture war, right? That's why dark woke will always fail, because you're just doing culture war arguments. It's a distraction, right? Which is why it's funny for people to claim that they're actually doing, like, no, woke 2.0 is actually about class. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's not about class, right? It's about catharsis. It's about making yourself feel good. It's about centering yourself in your own perspectives, right? That's it. It's about catharsis. Is that what they say? Yes. Stop in here. I'll show me saying this 3 years ago. Here, we'll cover Hassan's coverage in a second. I want to get back to this and then go back to Caroline. Right? Watch this. There's a reason why a lot of leftists got so defensive at this tweet. I don't know, something about shoe sizes or something like that. But to answer the question, the best way to reach these men is to meet them at the points of marginalization that they do face, their class position. Even white men have their labor exploited under this mode of production. They hate their bosses too. They are faced with poverty and they're straddled with debt just like the rest of us, and we provide a solution to that. The right gives them solutions that are shrouded in bigotry. You were fired unjustly from your job? The right will tell you that an immigrant took it instead of your boss deciding that your livelihood was overhead that they were willing to cut. The right will tell them that they need to be mad at trans kids, that women are out to destroy their careers with false accusations, and that black people are inherently violent and the driver behind crime. They thrive off of the culture war because they don't actually have the best interests of anybody except for the ruling class at heart. So don't engage with the culture war because you will lose that fight. The best way to reach these men is to show them that we, as the left, truly have their best interests at heart. The right gives them lies. We give them the truth. 3 years ago, 2023, I said it then, I'm saying it now. Stop engaging with the culture war. Stop. What's up? It's just people want to say sorry, it's like this. But you sent Ben quote tweeting my tweet. But I don't know what point he's making. I think he's joking. I'm pretty sure he's joking. I'm pretty sure he's memeing. I mean, he shouldn't have said it, but like, I'm pretty sure this is like a sarcastic dig at the people who actually believe this. Unless I'm reading it incorrectly. I was talking about this last night too. Send a link. It's a joke, but it's hard to parse. Because we're watching this Caroline tweet about Ryan Grimm earlier. Wait, I had another one. Wait, this one. We were covering it. Not the best written joke.
Yeah, I was just.
I'm also I don't have the wherewithal right now to parse.
Even though he's an awful person. Yeah, when that happened, it was shocking. It just shows everyone else in that group how you actually feel about them and how they would be treated if they weren't on your side. Yeah, and I keep saying this, but I feel like a lot of the way people are joking around woke one, like, wow, woke one, what was up with that? It's like, what do you mean? What is your problem? What is it about woke one era that you find so laughably absurd that like those of us who, which ostensibly, if you're a leftist, you were fighting against police brutality and the system of policing. Like, I'm feeling nuts at how reactionary people are behaving in kind of using now woke as this meme term and referring to the social justice movements by and large in the 2010s as, wow, woke one, we were pretty stupid, huh? That was crazy. Actually, we didn't go far enough with this so-called woke.
True. I love Caroline, bro. We are like the same person, right? But if I was like Asian and a woman, or if she was a black man, so pick your poison.
We didn't go far enough because look where we are now. Okay. We need woke 1,000.
True.
And again, with regards to Hilton's kids, I have no doubt that they will be seeing this conversation playing out about how they shouldn't have been born or should never have been able to see their father again, potentially as they're reeling from the trauma they just
community
experienced.
Means breaking containment.
It's horrible, and I wish.
No, I think the issue is a elected official being imprecise with their language and classifying a very large movement, right, spearheaded by black people, as like being so over and done with it got a little bit crazy. The issue is like the official being too online. Yeah. Too online. The online meme is still a problem, but like you have to again, especially if you're trying to attract black people, right? Especially if you're trying to attract black people and bring black people into the movement. How do you think that plays, right? When black people see their struggle for acknowledgement of humanity being reduced down to being a crazy, quirky little thing that went a little bit too far, right? And it may be a little bit different. I may be able to take it a little bit seriously if leftists actually cared about the police literally at all, and it was still a thing that like was being advocated for. You know what I mean? I mean, you had the police kill somebody in Wisconsin like last month.
city of Madison, Wisconsin, is clearing out a protest encampment at the site of a deadly police shooting. Trucks and state patrol officers arrived at the intersection early this morning as demonstrators tried to block that area. Some allegedly started fires with memorial candles, but crews did put them out. The site is where a Madison...
Like, you had leftists come out and were like, when Francesca Hong came out and was like, the encampment needs to go, we need to work with the police to get rid of this encampment or whatever, they were like, well, she kind of has to do that. She's running for office. You know what I mean? Or with like a leftist reaction to Zohran Mamdani, right? And I like Zohran Mamdani, but like his reaction to Zohran Mamdani and NYPD being like, no, he actually, do you expect him to like not support the police when there's crime happening? You feel me? It's like stuff like that. That he needs to hire 500 officers, which thankfully he walked it back, right? He says there won't be an increase in headcount, right? But like, leftists cannot claim that they did not abandon the police reform movement holistically. I don't know how that could possibly be a claim that they make. It was completely abandoned. That he did, along with moving to work on deed theft. Yeah. She could have said, I just said nothing. True. Yeah, let's continue with this as well.
More people would consider the impact of their comments online. Yes, even if Hilton has done worse, lowering our...
This is about the Perez Hilton thing. But yeah, that's the point. We do need work bulk 1,000. Oh, I want to finish the Morning Joe thing. Because he dropped the woke 1 and 2 on the timeline.
But please, I don't need people telling me. Oh, you have to just turn a blind eye to people saying that women getting raped on October 7th didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. No, Americans aren't going to support that. This is not about me. This is about the Democrats, once again, fumbling the football on the 2-yard line when they have a chance to make great gains, but being so woke, I don't know if you want to call it woke 1, woke 2, or woke 3, but being too woke to call out the obvious. I swear to God. It's crazy that we're even having this conversation. If somebody says, a woman being raped doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, it's okay to call that person out and demand that candidates distance themselves from those people. If you want to rule, over a party and win elections. If somebody says going to a rally the day after Hamas slaughters more Jews than any time since the Holocaust, it's okay for Chuck Schumer. It's okay for Hakeem Jeffries to call that despicable and demand that people distance themselves from that. That's okay. So why are we bringing this up now? We're bringing this up now because it seems an awful lot like what was happening in 2024 when Democrats couldn't get out of their own way to win an election they should have won.
I just love that now we have white people yelling at each other about what woke means and what it means to be too woke. We have arrived literally back into 2022. So in case you're wondering, okay, yeah, I'll draw it out. I will draw it out. We started here. You can say like 12 to like 2020, right? Here. You know what? Actually, I'm changing my color. Just to show you what happened. I'm going to show you the timeline of what happened here, right? So we had 2012 to 2020. This is like the inception of like the term woke. Maybe I'll say for 20 to 20, like 2018 or something. Right? No, actually 2020 is fine. This is the inception of the term woke. Right? And then in 2021, liberals have co-opted woke, right? The term 2020, 2021. Liberals co-opted the term woke, and then started using like actually no that's a lie. So in 2020 woke was a black people term, right? Woke was for blacks. Right? 2020 through 2021, right? Conservatives used woke racistly against progressives, against the left. Right? And in a post 2021, 2022 era, was it 2022? Right? So this was like the go woke, go broke time here. In 2022 to 2024-ish. Right? Woke became used by progressives, right, to describe this era. And then we're at now, which is 2026. The post-woke society, woke 2.0, is now like, created. Right? So, woke started as a term for black people and in the black community, and gained a lot of prominence during 2012 to 2020 for the Black Lives Matter movement. Conservatives used the term woke as a pejorative against like the left, as like a dig and as a slight. It became the new SJW. Right? And then after that, progressives then took woke from the conservatives and started using it to ironically describe this era of politics, right? To then it becoming unironic here to describe this era of politics, right? Which is not how you get like woke 2.0 saying we're not in like woke 1.0 anymore. Woke 1.0 was never something that was used by liberals to describe themselves per se, right? Like, it's like a meme or whatever, but liberals were never really walking around being like, I'm woke, I'm a woker or whatever, right? Like, by and large, the use of the term woke during 2020 was done by conservatives to describe the leftist movement. You know what I mean? Right? If anything, I would say anti-racist is a term that I think white liberals would ascribe to themselves. Like more than like the term woke. Like the entire framing is the left accepting reactionary framing. Yes. Conservatives use the framing to describe the entire progressive like leftist movement as like being woke, right? Or anything they didn't like as being woke, really. You know what I mean? Left libs did reclamation on the word woke. I don't think that's true. Like actually. And I think it happened. I think you can probably find some examples of like a white liberal calling themselves woke or whatever. But by and large, most of people using the term woke were reactionaries in 2020. What was woke being used for before 2020? Woke was being used by black people to describe being socially aware, right? Socially and politically aware. right? Black people would tell you to like stay woke, to be like, stay aware of the socio-political and economical climate of the world, right? That's how it was used. Yeah, stay vigilant, stay aware. Right? That was co-opted. It's kind of like, okay, it's kind of like how the right kind of uses like we was Kangs as like a diss against like black people and like AV. Does that make sense? Like the right takes things from the black community, right? The black people engage with AVE. Or did y'all see that video? Okay, this is slightly tangentially related. Did y'all see that video of that one white old lady? You have to know what I'm talking about. Come on, somebody has to say it. 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 You have to know the video I'm talking about. Which one? Okay, it's this one. Yes, okay, yes! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted someone to say it before I pulled it up to make sure I wasn't crazy. Yes. If you haven't seen this, buckle up and prepare yourself.
Okay. The question is not for me.
No, the question is why. No, the question is why you at my door asking me that I put this trash on the ground.
I'm just wondering.
Are you gonna pick it up?
I didn't dump it there.
Okay, so why you worried about it?
I ain't your slave.
Who the fuck is you talking to?
I ain't your slave.
I ain't your slave either, bitch. So get the fuck out of my fucking face. I ain't your motherfucking slave either, bitch. So get the fuck out of my face. Get off my car. Get off my shit.
I'm asking.
I don't give a fuck what the fuck you was asking. So who the fuck you talking to? Like you? Who the fuck are you talking to?
I'm asking if.
Bro, she pulled her AOC out. She was like, "I ain't your slave."
Who you about to, listen like you about to get the police, cause I bitch, who you talking to? Talking about you ain't my slave. Who the fuck are you talking to?
Just because you're
Who the fuck are you talking to? I don't give a fuck.
You don't
I don't give a fuck.
Still my joke.
Who are you
I did
talking
not.
to? Who are you talking to? Get the fuck away from my car.
I ain't your slave.
Oh, she's about to rock her, bro. I saw in her face. She was about to put one up, bro. She was about to rock her.
You about to get the fuck away from me.
I need a police.
You about this? Yeah, call the police.
Well, hold on. Okay. You can't be like, I need the police. You can't do that. Nah. Nah. You can't do that, bro. You can't after 3 be like, the police, where's the police? No, you can't do that, bro.
I need a police.
You about this? Yeah, call the police, bitch, cause you gonna need them. Talk to me like that again. You gonna need the fucking police. Bitch, and ain't your motherfucking slave.
Back off.
Bitch ain't your slave.
Off.
Bitch ain't your slave.
Back off.
Bitch ain't your slave. Fuck wrong with you?
You never.
I forgot what point I was making, but this video just came to my mind. Okay, I remember actually. This is an example, right, of a phrase that like black people use, right? Even like amongst ourselves, right? If you're not black, you may not know, but like if you're black and you have like black friends, and they ask you to do something, you hit them with a "I ain't your slave," right? That it gets taken and co-opted and used like racially as a part of like racial violence, as like a way of being racialized violence, right? Just like woke was.
Okay. The question is not for me.
No, the question is why. No, the question is why you at my door asking me that I put this trash on the ground.
I'm just wondering.
Are you gonna pick it up?
I didn't dump it there.
Okay, so why you worried about it?
I ain't your slave.
Who the fuck is you talking to?
I ain't your slave.
I ain't your slave either, bitch. So get the fuck out of my fucking face. I ain't your motherfucking slave either, bitch. So get the fuck out of my face. Get off my car. Get off my shit.
I'm asking.
I don't give a fuck what the fuck you was asking.
I love she then tries to like play the victim after this, like she didn't know what she just did. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, what? I didn't do anything. She said it twice. She said it 3 times, right? She said it. She did it 3 times in this video.
Asking, so who the fuck you talking to? Like you, who the fuck are you talking to?
I'm asking if
who you about to listen. Like you about to get the police? Cause I bitch, who you talking to? Talking about you ain't my slave.
You never,
who the fuck are you talking to?
Just because you're
who the fuck are you talking to? I don't give a fuck.
You don't.
I don't give a fuck. Who is you talking to? Who is you talking to? Get the fuck away from my car.
I ain't your slave.
You about to get the fuck away from me.
I need a police.
You about this? Yeah.
Just stop. I need the police. But I can't. You can't. She hit it a 3rd time and immediately started crying for the police. Honestly, she's lucky she didn't get rocked. Genuinely. She knows what she was doing, right? She knows exactly what she was doing. She put on she code switch. She was like, I ain't your slave. She knows what she was doing. You just disclosing rock that shit, and it would have been valid. Real rage bait personified. Give me this level of self-control. Because I commend it. I commend it. I commend it. She did it a 3rd time to see how far she could push it and then realize she wants to be a headline. I would have been getting way better lines out of her if I was in this position. But it's kind of like that, right? That's how the term woke was. Like the term woke was used like that was here, right? Anytime a black person showed up, it was like, oh, this is a woke movie. Woke, go woke, go broke, right? But again, I have to remind you, woke didn't go far enough. No matter how upset you get at like Disney's attempts at representation because you got a black Little Mermaid or whatever, it was pennies. It was drops in the bucket of representation, right? No matter how many black people got into like Harvard, drops in the bucket as it pertains to representation, right? 3 black CEOs, you know, like a dozen black women in the C-suite or whatever. Why are leftists engaging with that framing? It just doesn't make sense. Why are you conceding ground to that being what woke is? It's not, and you should know better. And I expect you to know better as a leftist. If that makes sense. Here, we covered this. I do want to see this conversation.
20-minute hit. It was really good. We're going to get to it right now. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez joins ABC. Asked about her political future, she says anything is possible.
Because keep in mind, right? If you want to attract, to be very clear, if you want to attract black people, this will not work. I'm trying to be very clear. If you want to attract black people, this will not work. Black people can clock you from a mile away. From a mile away, right? When you decry wokeness. Even if you're talking about like liberal co-opting of the movement, you have to realize that is not effective messaging, right? And so if you understand distancing yourself from like defund the police because you think it's not effective messaging, then like you should also understand why saying woke one or decrying woke one is not good messaging. You know what I mean?
Like in New York, you had the candidates that were endorsed by Mayor Mamdani, 2 of whom were challenging sitting members of Congress, powerful members of Congress, Democrats, and you decided to sit that one out. Is that part of wanting to work with your colleagues that are in the House? I mean, what's the...
Yeah, I think we're all in different, politics is also a workplace, and we're all in different positions to that. I endorsed, for example, in New York, on the state level, I endorsed a slate of challengers to incumbents
In the assembly.
in the assembly and in the Senate.
It was across the
labor movement in the U.S. that is seceded to catering to feelings of white people above all others. This won't be the same. It will implode. Yeah, it won't work. If running away songs, black audience never goes higher than 7%. This is why. Yeah, because black people see this. Again, if you look on Twitter, right? I said it on Twitter. There is a very clear racial line being drawn about the phrase woke one and how it's being utilized, right? And black voters who like socialism will see this, not even necessarily just like the AOC clip, but the reactions to it and the way the space in the base reacts to it. And they're like, okay, so what I heard about progressives was true, right? They actually don't care about these things. They pretended to care about these things, but they actually don't really care about these things.
Endorsement. Zoran couldn't openly go out and stick his neck out and risk like political capital in the New York State legislature. And AOC, much like many others, could not go out and endorse against incumbent Democrats. So they did a cross-promotional slate. It was smart. I think that in the next cycle, we won't have to be as careful, right? We won't have to be as timid.
The problem is always ceding framing to corporate and liberals. He understands that, so why is he using the exact same Republican and reactionaries do? I think again, I can't speak to Hassan specifically, but I think a big part of it, I can speak to Ryan Grimm, right? Because I've seen the way Ryan Grimm acts. I think Ryan Grimm is uncomfortable with black people. You know what I mean? I think Ryan Grimm and his reaction to like affirmative action and DEI and woke one and like bigotry against white people, I think Ryan Grimm is uncomfortable with the way that the movement was centered around black people for 2 years, around 2020 and 2021. Ryan Grimm hasn't casually talked to a black person since the 90s. Right? I think that uncomfortability kind of permeates through a lot of like white leftists, right? Because they're still white, you know? And so that will tailor how they talk about these things and how they discuss these things, right? So they don't know that like decrying woke one will not play well within the black community. It just won't. Right? It also doesn't work because like AOC is doing the exact same thing that like woke one was decrying, which was like crying about defund the police. The same liberals that she's decrying in this conversation about woke one, it hold the position that she's espousing here about like defunding the police being kind of crazy, right? Like liberals didn't hold that position in 2020. You know what I mean? Liberals didn't hold and abolish the police position in 2020. It was leftists. Leftists held that position. Right? So all black people see is that they're expendable.
We will be able to make more.
So the way they're memeing about it after annoys me so much. Like you can tell they think the quote was a slam dunk.
More bold moves. All I'm going to say is this. There's an attitude of
tier one.
How popular this movement is and how much social and political capital exists for this movement outside here in this community versus the internal calculation that elected representatives are making. You're coping? I'm not. I'm just explaining to you exactly what it is. I'm telling you exactly what it is. I'm telling you exactly what's going on. There is a strategy to what's going on that is a little bit different from DSA. All I'm saying is there are varying...
I love that it takes Hassan 5 minutes to get back to the video. It's pretty funny.
Is that Democratic electeds would shudder to get on board with. And the more DSA grows in its power and its influence, and a big part of that is coming from elected representatives that are
yeah, but I don't put it in the video though. That's the thing.
DSA aligned or DSA affiliated or DSA endorsed or even DSA cadre candidates that win these elections, the more DSA's power grows. And the more DSA's power grows, the more influence capabilities DSA has in terms of adding pressure to establishment Democrats and having a say in the National Democratic Party's platform. This is simply put the most like reductive but broadest theory of change. And I think because change, especially through the political arena, takes an unbelievably long amount of time, most people don't even see those changes and those shifts happening and basically take it for granted when they do happen. One example I will give you is where DSA was and where the American political calculation was in 2016 as far as like socialism goes versus where it is now in only a decade. People like myself didn't exist in 2016, although I was still doing. You know, I didn't have a platform. There were no robust left media outlets out there that had competitive sizes in audiences to mainstream outlets. DSA itself was numbering in the 10,000s, not the 120,000. AOC was a barista in 2016. Do you understand? AOC was a barista in 2016, not a multiple term incumbent Democratic representative and one of the most popular figures in American politics. So these changes happen over a long period of time. And
I think it's important to note, none of that would have happened without like woke one. You know, there would not have been a national movement that could have been capitalized on without Black people pushing for their rights to be heard, which is what woke actually was. You know? That's not necessarily the point Hassan's making because we haven't got to that part of the video yet, but like, I just wanted you to remember that.
a lot of people come into it.
Turn around on the movement, yeah. Which is why, like, that's why I said earlier, it's like, again, like white people made bank off of BLM. Right? People like to talk about like the BLM organizers and how they ran away with the money or whatever. White people made bank off of BLM. Like, they made bank. White leftists made bank talking about Black Lives Matter. Oh, CC. Oh, okay, there she goes. They make off pretty much anything we do. That's true. Darto is thanking for the 5 gifted subs. Much appreciated.
At some point in the
government, BLM has a house rented while they have hype houses based on Griff
movement, and just take those changes for granted. They think, of course, this was always the case. That's the issue.
And I don't work in state government, which gives me a greater freedom to be able to do that and to assess it. And I'm very grateful, you know, that we now have a progressive movement that is in large enough numbers that, you know, it used to be that you could fit 5 people in a closet, and that was the caucus, and now we've grown into quite a successful movement.
And she's speaking to that change as well. She's speaking to that seismic shift and how it wasn't designed overnight. It took a.
Most of the leaders in the Ferguson riots killed or died mysteriously. Some would say, yes, there was a lot of mysterious deaths that happened. People were disappeared. Right. It was very analogous to the civil rights movement. Yeah, but what was crazy? It was crazy.
Decade of work. And there will always be newcomers, which we welcome, by the way, with open arms. But there will always be newcomers who say, well, this changed. Look at where we're at. This didn't happen overnight. There were a sequence of victories and a sequence of defeats. We didn't arrive here like that.
These races ultimately are local, and all politics are local. My understanding is that Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot
right,
of that.
She's moved away from it. And I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy.
And I think that what's important is that we have to assess what
did the movement go too far with some of those positions? I mean, you briefly supported the idea of defunding the police.
Well, you know, I think that during this time and especially during COVID, There was a huge opening of the Overton window. We were shut down. There was some of the highest unemployment rates that we have seen because of those shutdowns.
Yeah.
And I think that the doors were really open in trying to entertain any and every policy that was going to get us to a better place. And I actually think that the discussions that were had in that time were quite fruitful. I think that when we talk about crime today, it's fundamentally different than the way that we talked about crime in bringing crime down, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that we all share in the goals of having as low a crime rate as possible.
This is a non-answer. Like, we know she doesn't believe in in a police abolition, right? She's not advocating for the police to be defunded, maybe because she thinks it's a losing policy or whatever. But like, again, can that apply to like ICE as well? Right? Are we pushing for ICE to be abolished because it's a winning policy, or are we doing it because it's moral? Right? And if it wasn't popular, would we still be doing it? And I think that we should. Does that make sense? And that's what I think is like the main difference between the way that I view it versus the way that a lot of people who are like AOC views it, right? Is that we can get ICE to be abolished now because it's popular to do that now without looking at, like, again, that also didn't happen overnight. There were like anti-ICE activists. There were immigration activists. There were first generation Americans who wanted to protect their parents and their cousins and their siblings and their aunts and their uncles, right? Activists pushed for that to be the case, right? The reason why it's super popular now is, hear me if you taught me if I heard the story before, because people were murdered. And it brought up a lot of attention to it. It's directly analogous to BLM. Right? But the reason why you can't do things based off of how popular they are, right, is because once it stops being popular, then people are going to move on, which means you will move on. That's why BLM kind of died in the water. You know? Where defund the police failed in actual policy. No police were defunded. It was successful in absolutely slaughtering the reputation of the police in many somewhat liberal-minded white people. And I was positive if it were again tracked again, it would have been more successful in policy, to be honest. Yeah, and the only reason why it failed, right? Only reason why it failed policy-wise is because leftists stopped pushing for it, right? Once Joe Biden got elected, everybody went home, including leftists. They moved on. And that's part of the problem, right? People are still protesting Cop City, chat. It's still happening. There are still rapid response groups for Cop City, right? It just doesn't get the same coverage, right? And it's I think this is a big problem with the way the leftist media ecosystem operates, is that like we are oftentimes just like tailing each other. You know? It's like, oh, you know, Grant Plattner goes on the Majority Report, but then he goes on you know, Drop Site News, and then we're talking about this, and we're talking about elections. We're all, you know what I mean? And so we're oftentimes all tailing each other. And so we end up talking about the same thing, which leads things to just not be talked about. Then I wrote about Taylor 100 years ago, but none of these socialists today actually read anymore. So you can keep repeating things over and over. The crackdowns on community movement builders and stock Cop City activists. Yeah. Right. And it's still happening. And it has happened. And like, and so that's why it's so frustrating that people are like, man, woke one was crazy. As in like, as if it like went too far. It's so frustrating. Unfortunately, I can see everyone going home and dropping everything when the next Democrat or even progressive gets elected, and then abolish ICE, become reform ICE, and abandon entirely. I mean, yeah. I mean, there are people who are already on that tip, Chad. Kyle Kulinski, which is why I brought up earlier the fact that nobody's calling him out is crazy. Kyle Glinski told good people to join ICE. He says we need more good people in ICE to stop the bad people in ICE from doing stuff. It's already happening. Is in Yahoo and NYC, am I right? Please. He what? Please. Don't make me pull the clip again. Don't make Chad, does anybody have the clip? What did Kyle say? He said that we need good people to join ICE. Pull the clip. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Somebody have a link to it? ICE. It shouldn't be that hard to find. It's literally the only Kyle Glinski video that I've ever seen. What it showed me, I don't know, dude, it's considered leftist ever since. People ignore it. The same way, like, we watched the song Kyle, Ryan Grimm clip, right? People ignore it. Right? But when it's me, you know what I mean? You know the original clip? How do you have Brett saying it, but not me saying it? I watched it first. I found it. No, I should lie. A chatter found it for me. But gosh darn it. I know I covered it. Bro, why does he post so freaking much? What? I'll find it, don't worry. I'm gonna scroll for like a year. Oh, it is in my White People Have Racism Problem video. You're right. I think. I should have covered it here. No, I didn't. It's all about Ryan Grimm. Wait, is that it? Did I see it? Did I see it? I saw a video I saw. No, I lost it. Okay. Wait. So, chat, somebody has to have it, okay? Somebody has to have it. What if I just do this?
be the Gestapo. Professionalism. And that's what we're seeing now, by the way. We're seeing a lot of, there's now a big beef between cops and ICE, and it's understandable that that's the case. They're encroaching on the territory of the cops, and they're wildly unprofessional, and they're committing crimes, and they're causing problems, which makes the life of cops way harder. So these 175,000 Americans, they're basically signing up to be the Gestapo. Make no mistake about it. They are signing up to ruin the lives of black people and brown people and liberals and lefties and people using their First Amendment free speech rights. That's what they're doing. So I hope, again, some of you out there will sign up as a good person and basically be a double agent, if you will, and basically try to keep a lid on the worst elements of it. And I came to this position because that's what one of the soldiers said. Remember that video I played for you guys from Status Coup of a black veteran? And he basically convinced me that we need a bunch of good people in the military and the National Guard so that when you're ordered to do something illegal or unconstitutional, you say no, basically. You reject the order. But we can't do that if it's all only the bad guy.
This is also really funny. People say he's joking here. This is also really funny because it does not apply to the military either, right? Because it just doesn't happen. Nobody's fragging in the military. It's just not happening, right? Nobody's disobeying orders or going AWOL, by and large. The most you can hope for is that you keep your head down and you get out after your time is up, right? But if you're given an order, people are doing that order. You technically, on paper, have a right to disobey that order, but just in the same way you technically have a right to overthrow the American government. That doesn't mean it wouldn't be treason. You wouldn't be tried for treason. You know what I mean? You go to jail after. Yeah. Like in this country, you are technically allowed to overthrow the government, but like it's still treason and you will go to jail for treason if you try. It's like that, but for the military. Like you can go AWOL, you can disobey an order, you're going to jail. Was supposed to be going into jail for doing the right thing. What are we even saying? Yeah. Guys at the my Oscar had his career. Yeah, it always happens. It happens for cops too, by the way. Which is why you can't change the system from the inside. Right? Cops who try to get in who's like, I can be different. Immediately find out you can't be different. And then they either leave or get corrupted and become part of the problem. Which is why you have ACAB. All cops are bastards. Because the system itself is broken. I can see how a dumb guy comes to this conclusion. I agree. Right? Which is why I don't think people who and I think the propaganda for the military is, again, I think it's a little bit different, not in the impact, but in how it's messaged to people. And so I can see how like a 17-year-old signs his life away, right? Because of the propaganda that they are told. Because they don't see the impact of it. Right? So again, I don't have a position that like all soldiers are immediately written off for that reason. But like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like you can actually change the system from the inside. Because you can't do that. You know? They will also just fire you for not obeying orders. It's like, what's the point of signing up and being a double agent? Oh, sorry. If they just get rid of you instantly, yeah. Except if you're in the military, which you will go to jail. Right? At most, like, at first you'll get like an Article 15, you'll get like a warning or whatever. You know. Sorry, I bet you get like a warning or Article 15. Which will sit on your record. Which will then like impact your career, which is like, why are you even there in the first place? Because that will impact your pay, right? And how you get discharged. So there's literally no reason to do it. There's literally no reason to do it. There's no benefit there because you won't be stopping anything meaningful, right? It's like at E6 until you retire. Yeah, like you're not like, don't worry, when I'm a colonel, it'll be different because you're not getting the colonel, you know? It's just not happening. Robert, thank you for the prime. Not if people read this and realize nothing has changed. I also have not read this. This is long. This is interesting. His name of the ex-soldier who turned into journalist with long hair. He had a similar take on this. I Actually, don't know. Excuse me. So we can't change the system from within. I'm shocked. I'm not an anarchist. I don't think that like all systems inherently need to fall, right? Just the flawed systems, right? I think if a system can be reformed, it's not an inherently flawed system, but systems that are inherently like flaws are built in. Like I think you can change the system for how you catalog inventory at work. You know what I mean? Like there are some systems, I guess, that you can change from within. You feel me? You can unionize with your cohort, your workers, your coworkers, and then like make some change. Right? So you can change some systems from within. But systems that are inherently flawed, that are built foundationally on bigotry and subjugation in order for it to succeed, right? Like the military industrial complex, like ICE, like the Department of Homeland Security, like policing, like prisons, stuff like that, you can't fix that. You can't change that from within, right? Because the issue is root deep. That's kind of how I view it. But like, if the milk gets put in the wrong spot, they just move it in the right spot. But the justice system just puts the milk back in place and it's chocolate milk in jail. I love the analogy of chocolate milk being me. I'm gonna make fun of a person, but I can be changed with it. I know you're joking, right? I was just addressing this, right? I know you're not serious about that.
Eyes in these agencies, so that when you're ordered to do something illegal or unconstitutional, you say no. Basically, you reject the order. But we can't do that if it's only the bad guys in these agencies. So we need a little bit of that going on, man. In fact, we need a lot of bit of that going on. So 175,000, stop and think about that. That is a domestic ICE Gestapo, the ICE Stapo force, is what they've just created. All right, now speaking of cops versus ICE, ICE arrested a police officer in a Chicago suburb and accused him of being in the U.S. illegally. Now, here's the biggest problem that they're going to run into, though. This police officer is white as the driven snow, bro. He is white as fuck. He looks like fucking G.I. Joe in his picture. I'm not even kidding. They say he's from like Montenegro and he overstayed his visa or some shit. But he's 100% a productive member of society. He's a police officer. He's held this job for a long time. He's loved by other officers. And so now, I actually low-key love this story. Because like I said, with the way things are unfolding now, liberals and leftists need some amount of force on their side. And when you're looking at all of the potential options...
I'm sorry, what? I've never played this clip for this long. Excuse me? This is in 2025 before the ICE deaths, by the way. No, this is in 2026. This is 9 months ago. Well, yes, it is 2025. You're right. October. Dang, it's not. It's almost September. It's close. Go back. I'll go back. He's like, you know what? Maybe we need cops on our side, actually, guys.
With the way things are unfolding now, liberals and leftists need some amount of force on their side. And when you're looking at all of the potential options, you know, it's going to be the police who are more likely to actually side with liberals and leftists because, like I said, when you have ICE and you have the FBI and you have the feds sort of encroaching in state and local territory and causing problems and committing crimes and tear gassing cops and things of that nature, there's going to be just a natural human territorial instinct of like, why are you fucking shit up here, right? And that's why you see Zoran is doing this. He's playing the cops in New York City against ICE. And he's saying to the cops, this is your fucking territory. Don't let them encroach on your fucking territory, right? And so he's playing this highfalutin game of like, we got to play them off against each other.
I don't agree with we need infiltrators in X space, but I do agree that if someone from the army shows a change remorse and strives to do better, I won't reject them. See, this is interesting because nobody ever brought that part up, chatter. This is what I view as virtue signaling. You know what I mean? Nobody ever brought up that like we should reject people in the military, right? at all ever. Let's think about God. Anyone here? It's something that I see very, very often. Because like that we were not making that point specifically. I think I specifically said I don't reject everybody who's in the military. You know what I mean? So it just felt weird to like to position it as though like that wouldn't be something that like we've talked about here, you know? I'm not coming at you specifically, but it feels weird to like as like we're way to frame that, you know? I don't know. I can't think of a good I can't think of a good analogy for that, you know? It's like and it's kind of like me saying I like pancakes and being like, so I don't disagree that like pancakes are good, but I also don't hate waffles. Like, I mean, sure, but like we were just talking about my like of pancakes, for lack of a better analogy.
And also, which side is going to be more likely to protect us?
The
in this?
anti-Semitism unprompted in a discussion of Israel's crimes is the closest I'm thinking. Yeah, I can see that. Is he saying you hate me? Time to grift? True.
Moment, it absolutely is the cops over ICE, because ICE doesn't care about due process, doesn't care about the in this off against each other.
Okay. You never have to hand it to the cops. Also, I forgot the timestamp I was at.
Democrat, highly unprofessional, and police officer in a Chicago restaurant is doing this. He's playing protect us in this moment. It absolutely gassing cops and things of that nature. There's going to be just a natural human territorial instinct of like, why are you fucking shit up here, right? And that's why you see Zoran is doing this. He's playing the cops in New York City against ICE. And he's saying to the cops, this is your fucking territory. Don't let them encroach on your fucking territory, right? And so he's playing this highfalutin game of like, we got to play them off against each other. And also, which side is going to be more likely to protect us in this moment? It absolutely is the cops over ICE, because ICE...
No, it's not. No, it's not. This is insanity. Bro, woke one didn't go far enough, bro. Woke one didn't go far enough. If you have Kyle Kulinski being like, well, you know, I think the cops actually will protect us. They are both equally as likely to not protect you because they are a part of the same system. They're going to team up. They have teamed up. You probably saw like 3 isolated instances where like they actually fought each other, but they shake hands. They share equipment. They share wartime stories about how they shot a brown person and how it actually made them feel good or something. Centrist doesn't get it. Kyle's a liberal, like actually a liberal. People call me a liberal, right? Kyle is like actually a liberal.
Tesserand gifted a tier 1 sub to catch a moment.
Right? But Kyle gets a lot of leeway, kind of like how, you know, Chris Rabb was saying, Graham Plattner gets a lot of leeway and like support that he doesn't get as a black man because Graham Plattner's white. That's Kyle and myself. You know what I mean? Kyle gets promoted and elevated to a status that he does not deserve, right? Because of his whiteness. Right? Kyle is your Plattwater. I'd rather Ryan Grimm be my Plattwater. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So like these beggars out of here. Sorry.
Doesn't care about due process, doesn't care about the Constitution. They're not, I mean, they make the U.S. cops look positively, overwhelmingly...
What? If you don't get it, you know, you don't get it, you know. So it's an inside joke. Inside jokes, inside memes.
Professionally trained with how they act. There's 0%.
Oh! I said inside joke, and made me think of this. I was like, where did I hear that from? Obsession. I watched Obsession. Let me tell you, dog. I was watching this and I was like, bro, Bear gotta go. I was like, Bear gotta go. You know what I mean? I was like, Bear gotta go. At first, like watching it, or thinking about it back, like retrospectively, at first, I could understand how you make a mistake. Like you're like, oh, I didn't think this thing was real or whatever. But like, there were multiple instances where there were so many red flags, even removed from the moral aspect of it, that it's just like, at no point were you just like, let me just chill. No spoilers. This is pretty spoiler free. Like wild. It is so much worse. It's literally insane. That's all I'll say about it. He's an obsession drama on YouTube where men were on Bear's side. No. Thinking obsession and bad takes. What is it? Oh, it's a D'Angelo video? I've heard some of the discourse. Reminds me of a Scott Pilgrim gained self-respect. That's what Bear needed. Bear did not start irredeemable in the movie. You know what I mean? He started out as a loser, right? And like that's fine. You're not irredeemable for being a loser, right? But he became irredeemable in right? He became irredeemable in the movie because of the decision that he made. You know what I mean? And so if you're like on Bear's side at the end of the movie, I don't know what to tell you. There were choices that he's made very specifically that he should not have made. And the movie doesn't even validate those choices. Replace Bear with Charlie Kirk, not so funny now. Honestly, I can see it. You know what I mean? He does have a little bit of a Charlie Kirk look. That's when Bear has become a great litmus test for dudes. I think it's less of a litmus test, kind of, but like more of a media literacy test, right? Because like the movie doesn't even like portray him as good. I don't think he becomes irredeemable. His action throughout the movie showed that he never really loved or respected Nikki. He was just given the opportunity to be monstrous. But I think that's what makes him irredeemable, right? Him choosing to be a monster when given ample opportunities to change that choice, right? Even like, okay, I'll go say something. It would have been a slight spoiler, so I won't say it. But like, even towards the end of the movie, that's what makes him irredeemable. You know? But like, I think the movie does a good job of like, stop, say no more. True. You know, Ball. He was a normal loser guy who became a monster. That's more realistic. A guy who hurts women doesn't seem evil to most people around them. Yeah. Can we do a spoiler reaction? No, we're gonna move on because I don't want chat who haven't seen it to be spoiled. He was obsessed with her. He didn't care about her as a person and got a mirror held up to him. At the end of the day, yeah, maybe we'll circle back to it at the end of the stream today. We may be scared of white women again. That's crazy. Movie was a little bit scary. It wasn't like I wouldn't necessarily say it was like a scary movie, but like it did have its moments where it's just like yo, you know, disturbing, yeah. Like it's everyday evil rather than some cartoonishly evil behavior. Yeah, I think it's a good movie for like men to watch, because I think a lot of men can very easily become a bear if they're not aware of or if they're not woke, you know, like if they're not aware of the impact that their behavior has on the people around them, which a lot of men don't because that's what the patriarchy dictates. Like the patriarchy dictates men to not be aware of their behavior, even if they are woke. True, but like more of the point of like is like if you're like completely unaware, if you are aware, right, you're less likely to fall into that trap, which is why becoming more aware of your behavior, like, yeah, if you're intentional of your behavior, you're less likely to fall into that trap, right? But woke men do this as well. Like leftist men also do this as well, right? But it's very easy or very good to see for men, right, that even if you don't intend it, your behavior can be harmful to the people around you. You know what I mean? All right, stop spoiling. We just said no spoilers. We're having a very general discussion about what the movie is about. Bear or Bear in the Woods. I like to think that his name was a reference to that. Obsession, but Bear is performatively woke the whole time. I think what's really good about it is that he never was like a chud. You know what I mean? Like he was never like actually like an outward chud. He was just a guy. I think that works very well for the themes of the movie, right? Because like it kind of shows that even like the men that you don't expect to be harmful, right, still have the capability to commit harm, right, and that to be like done in service of the patriarchy. He was just a nice guy kind of guy. Even then, like kind of, but like it wasn't even like cartoonishly like nice guy thing, right? He was just a guy, right? There is like a nice guy archetype that like you do see, which is like Milady or whatever, right? But he was he came across as like a as a dude that wasn't like so overtly like guys say Milady. I mean, not really, but like you know what I mean. Patriarchy is selfish at the end of the day. It's a difficult part that men can't get over. Yeah. Because that guy's like got the power to be a bad guy. He was a coward from start to finish. True. But he went from being a coward to being an evil coward. Right. We'll talk about it more later. We're gonna move off of Kyle. Actually, we're gonna move off of this woke one stuff. I think I talked about it well enough. Okay, wait, one more time.
We cannot afford to leave Tennessee behind. We cannot afford to leave Kentucky behind, Alabama behind, Mississippi behind, Georgia behind, South Carolina behind. We cannot afford.
My tweet was kind of funny. I liked my tweet. Which was woke one would never have let this slide. This is a funny tweet. I like it. Give me a like tweet. Let me swipe a like.
Off against each other.
Okay. What else do I have on my bookmarks to talk about? I have a lot of the AOC stuff that I just skipped because it just wasn't really important. Oh, there was this. Another Zora on TikTok.
Is the best mayor in.
Oh, and for the ones who haven't seen the this one as well. AOC, I ain't your slave.
You did not see Spider-Man in Central Park wearing Tim's.
Of course not, but y'all believe anything when you're not from here.
Whatever,
Hold up
man.
a second, I'm gonna order real quick.
All right.
Yo, can I get a bacon, egg, and cheese? Nah, man, all of our systems are down. Oh, that's cool. I'll just call Mom Donnie. He'll come fix it.
That's not how Mom Donnie works.
Did somebody say New York? Mom Donnie! How you doing, man? Another day making the city safer for New Yorkers. Problem should be fixed now.
Did he just fix an electrical issue by himself?
Nah, man, it was a couple of our highly intelligent public service workers. Now, who wants to drink from the new water fountains at the new soccer field?
Me!
I
got water in my house.
Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I said I got water in my house.
Oh, yeah, we got that too, and all the new stuff, and the mayor, and the Knicks.
Hey, I'm gonna let you go, man. You breaking up.
Oh, the Wi-Fi from our fast and free bus must be breaking up. I'll call Mom Donnie real quick.
No, don't call Mom Donnie.
Did somebody say New York? Mom Donnie! Sorry for the inconvenience. To make it up to you, here's some ice cream and a free puppy.
Yeah!
What? Hold on, sorry. He's talking this girl through a breakup real quick.
Why is he doing that? That's not his job.
Well, really, he inspired us to come together as a community and embrace her with the heart of the city. This is why I love living in New York. Did somebody say New York?
Mom Donnie! Hang up on me, bro.
And tomorrow I'm gonna get those potholes fixed.
Right.
That's really funny. Wait, this is just the case? Yeah. In case you're wondering, take a little look-sees.
History, not just New York mayor. Mom Donnie might go down as the best mayor in history, not just New York mayor in general in history. Like, ever since this guy became mayor of New York City, I have never heard a single, problem that New Yorkers had. Like a single ongoing problem. And I say ongoing because this nigga solved every single problem within a month. Legitimately. I saw people were complaining about the heat in the subway within one video, and within the same video, a person scrolls down and they see that he installed fans in the subway. I'm like, bro, the video was still up. It was still gaining traction.
An amazing job, but we just need one thing. We gotta get some AC up in these train stations. It's horrible.
I saw a video of a guy pointing at trash cans, complaining about the trash cans. He's like, do something about the trash. It'll look good. And then he makes a whole fucking advertisement about changing the trash can.
Mom Donnie, we need better trash cans. These are terrible. Even though you redesigned them, they're just not big enough. This isn't even a populated neighborhood, and look, it's already overflowing before nighttime. So people keep tagging me in this video of Mayor Mamdani saying that he's containerizing trash in all 5 boroughs, saying, Shawsland, I made a video about it. Yes, I did. Actually, the trash can is right over there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Cheers to that.
Like, whoa, man, relax. Give them something to complain about.
Hey, y'all see how the world works, bro? You see how in the morning I said there was 2 potholes, right? Look what happened after I come back from work. What, nigga? Nigga, Mom Donnie, I did not know you was like that, nigga. Nigga, that quick?
It pisses me off the sidelines getting A. This is kind of funny.
Said this shit like literally in the morning. That shit gone already. Nah, we love you, Mom Donnie. What the fuck?
I swear, it feels like if New Yorkers complain about the weather too much, like they say it's too cold, it's too hot, too much rain, too much snow, he might jump up into the sky and fight the gods himself. And I'm sorry, but correct me if I'm wrong, he's one of the few politicians, the few mayors, few politicians in general that you could see in your everyday to day life. Like, what do you...
This is Brown Boy Summer. You're right. Y'all can have this one. One day, we'll get our own. We'll get our own.
I mean, he's leading the charge of a bicycle group. What do you mean this man is just bicycling in a suit and tie?
He's actually like Spider-Man, funnily enough. Like not in like actually wearing a suit or wearing a superhero costume, but this is how Marvel treats Spider-Man. If you read Marvel comics, this is how the Marvel New Yorkers treat Spider-Man. Actually, legitimately, that is actually how they treat Spider-Man. It's like, yo, Spider-Man, look, it's you. He's like, yeah, it's me. Spider-Man is walking in the neighborhood. They're like, yo, Spider-Man, my cat got stuck in a tree. And it was like, oh no, I got you. Give me 1 second. You know what I mean? Legitimately, that's what Spider-Man does. Do it back with Mom Donnie. He's from Queens too. Coincidence? Oh, interesting.
And let's not forget, when the New York Knicks was playing for the grand finals, everybody saw how crazy New York was, and they're like, oh yeah, we finally got him. He's definitely gonna come out and shame all of the New Yorkers for their outlandish behavior. Dude was outside with them! Is he currently the only mayor in America that is doing side quest missions? And keep in mind,
Just that I brought out Ivanati to lose his wife to deal with the devil. And get it, her to deal with a guy named Paul. True. You're right. If you tagging Spider-Man in TikTok too. Yeah. That's just how it is.
They were telling you not to vote for this man like he was the devil incarnate. Like he was the resurrection
Where Andrew Cuomo is his J. Jonah Jameson.
Of Satan himself. And he's basically turning New York into Central City right now. And not only that, he's done 2 accomplishments that no other politician could ever do. 1, he's not cheating on his wife. And 2, he's not touching kids. Oh my God.
It's crazy when you can just do stuff. Because is a Green Goblin. Is he like still around? That was like a level of binding ritual. He can't eat sardines for their New Year's or something. I was trying to get him on his accident. Yeah, I saw this. Like, this guy who grew up in Uganda has a different accent. And then he moved and his accent changed. What a surprise.
We also do, our showkees. We do our showkees in Kampala. But, I mean, having a dance move to a song is a big thing, right? But I would say the Nigerian...
Also, it's funny for Fox News to post this, because if his accent was actually like this, they would have been posting that too. If his accent was like this right now, they'd be like, this doesn't really sound like an American accent from the New York City mayor, the mayor of the biggest city in the country. Why does he speak like that? That actually does not sound very American to me. You know what I mean? And so he does code switch, right? He code switched to a more politician-like cadence, right? And now they have a problem with that as well. What does he say about Nigerians? Oh no, let's just check.
Really patented that. The Nigerians have really patented that. The Nigerians come out with a song, like Yemi Alade has a song called, what's the name? Kofi Annan. She has a song called Kofi Annan. Do the Kofi Annan. Now all my friends in Kampala are doing the Kofi Annan. Right? So Ugandans, we don't really have as many dance moves associated with a song, but we will always dance. We are always dancing. That's the thing. The difference for me is, I'm from Uganda, but I also grew up in New York. In New York, you don't really, you go out, some guys are very hesitant to dance. If they're not grinding, they're just standing. In Kampala...
That's true. That's not just New York, though. That's kind of U.S. club culture. You know what I mean? But it's true.
You will just not find that. People are all dancing. Everybody's dancing. Men, women. It's fantastic. But I mean, we also do our showkees. We do.
He's just like such a chill guy. You know what I mean? And again, I can have my professional and ideological disagreements with Mamdani. Have you heard Mamdani's music? Of course, before he got elected. Of course, you think I wouldn't have heard his rap songs, right? But I can have my ideological disagreements with him, but I can also understand that like what he's doing is he's actually doing stuff, Unlike other politicians, he's like, I'm gonna go do this thing. And he just does it. And that's respectable. I can respect that, right? Even if we're not directly ideologically aligned. We can disagree and we can push back. But like that it works. And it shows that it works. Because that's what the people care about. If he's materially changing people's lives, which is he's doing that, right? Then I have no problem with it. The issue that I have with politicians is oftentimes they'll get in office and then they just won't do what they say. That's my issue with Joe Biden. I didn't have an issue with Joe Biden before 2023, outside of like him just being a freaking liar. He was a freaking liar when he said, you know what I mean? Student loans are going to be canceled. And that never happened. I did see this. Also, I heard in the grapevine this is Tectone's ex. Is that true? Because I saw a tweet that said like Tectone is probably throwing up in a corner crying. It is? Small world. Drake barking, but the beat is not like us. Okay, I have to play the original video first.
Are you into role play?
Like
silly?
Like silly.
A little silly?
Yeah. I am absolutely, by the way, you can look me dead in my eyes. If you say do it, I would fully
Okay. You're saying this, and now I'm gonna like test
There's
it.
40 men doing this. Yeah, that's the weirdish part. Like, bro, don't you got kids? don't don't you got kids? Kids plural? Word in the grapevine. You know what I mean? Word at the grapevine.
Okay. What do we? Just give me like one.
Would you bark for me?
Oh, I did not like that at all. I did not like that at all. What are you treating that so much? It hurt me. Honestly, I would report myself too. That's yeah. Never play that again.
Just give me like one.
Would you bark for me? Good boy.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to watch it one. This is kind of funny. This is AI, which I can't laugh at it. But we have to watch it one more time just to see it to the beat of Not Like Us.
What do we? Just give me like one.
Would you bark for me?
That is really funny.
What do we? Just give me like one.
Would you bark for me? Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
I mean, he opens himself up to this. I'm finishing the video, so.
Good boy. Good boy.
The looping? No, it ended no. I mean, it probably was looping, but like, that is really funny. I'll freeze all over it. Oh, I haven't done that in a while. Nah, I have to feel it. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my bones. Enough to make the system grow. So you've seen this? Yes, I have seen that. We looked at it months ago. You're late, chatter. Yeah. So, in conclusion, New York City gets all the good stuff and we get nothing, bro. The rest of the country has to suffer. When they're like, New York is like, oh no, our lobster is too buttery. Oh no, my steak is too juicy. Oh no. And the rest of us are like dying. Need to be close to Atlanta. Just live in New York. I don't want to live in New York, okay? I want the benefits of New York without living there. What a Near 10 has been on is that what I don't know what Near 10 looks like actually. He was progressive, Near 10 advocating to steal workers' entitlements such as Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security.
Like O'Malley and Cuomo, who've taken a much more balanced approach on budgets, where they've looked at taxes as well as reforming programs and cutting programs. And so I think that's the approach the
She'll
American
be
people.
DC mayor soon. Are we abbreviating everybody's name just so that they are get like the AOC boost? You know what I mean? I've seen people abbreviate Abdullah Saeed. I do have abbreviation. STV is my abbreviation. This is true. You think it'll catch on? Dara Lisa got abbreviated as well. Now it's the LBJ, FDR, MLK type.
People are supporting.
There's a viewer here who wants you to take us deeper into entitlements by Twitter. Ms. Tanda, do you know what the president means when he says entitlements are on the table? Any specifics and anything you would endorse?
Yeah, I mean, so there are a range of entitlements that, you know, I think when we're talking about entitlements, we're talking about Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid. These are programs that people receive support because of the status that they have. So when after 65, you get funding from Social Security and Medicare. Actually, it's getting older for Social Security. But and you know, the president has $300 billion in his budget in cuts in Medicare. That comes on top of cuts in Medicare from the Affordable Care Act. So he has put specific cuts in the budget already in Medicare, and they had saved.
Okay, I'm not listening to another minute of near Tandon. I mean, she's the loser. We know she's the loser. Wait, did Tokon fix the PC port? Is it fixed? Are we fixed now? Also, you have to, if you don't, I forgot again. Chat, remind me tomorrow. Remind me tomorrow to start with my sponsorship. I keep forgetting. I technically have a few days left to do it. Is Mamdani and Tokon? Did somebody say New York? Mamdani! Rivals new season? No, it's not Rivals new season. Or Tokon. It's for Lanterns. Right? I don't get a new Marvel Rivals sponsorship until I finish my Lanterns one. And it might be too late for me to get it anyway because the season's already started. It's a show. I just have to watch the trailer. So I take the sponsorships whenever they come up. It's like it's not that much money. It's technically under my market rate. It's like $100-something when I do it. But like if I do that like once a week, that's like a pretty sizable amount of money. Do you have sponsorships to watch trailers? Heck yeah. Now think about how much like somebody with like 20,000 viewers gets paid. They get paid like $20K. Really close to like $10K to watch a trailer. You know? Anyway, is the show on? Not yet, I don't think. Did somebody say New York? Mamdani! Any final thoughts, chat? This is true, indeed. On days like this, it's always important to remember this. This will play us out. As you do John's Woke One coverage, you did. It was like the first half of the stream today.
Hey, it's Leo. Sexy, so.
Oh, sorry. In conclusion, everybody else is stupid and I'm right. And you should like my tweets. Especially my tweet. This one's kind of funny. I said the fact that non-black people are so confidently speaking on what woke means shows that whatever you call a woke one didn't go far enough. That is my take. But I want to go grab some food. How did the test go? I think it went all right. I think it went all right. They have a lot of notifications. Oh yeah, YouTube. Oh no, I was playing music. I forgot about music. Okay, bye YouTube chat. Adios. Goodbye.